Tech. The Yellow Jackets are idle today. They have beaten Virginia. So that's how it looks as we head down the stretch in the Atlantic Coast Conference race. Hi, everybody. I'm Brad Nessler. Welcome to Tallahassee. 38-game unbeaten streak on the line here at Doak Campbell Stadium. And Gary Danielson, while they did do it 3 years ago in the game we saw at Virginia, for Florida State, it again seems now after the NC State upset like a bunch of sports cars running against a bunch of pickup trucks.
Okay, and keeping with that NASCAR analogy, let's say the engine's running, but we've got new spark plugs. You know, it's WW, but it's not Charlie Ward and Warwick Dunn. It's Chris Winkie and Peter Warwick. 18 touchdown passes for Chris Winkie. 10 have gone to Peter Warwick. That is the spearhead of this offense. That's what Virginia's going to have to stop. The big play from Warwick.
Well, they get a big play defense, too, actually, Florida State. They're number one in the conference against the run, but Florida, or rather Virginia, 240 yards on the ground, leads the conference. Something's got to give.
Same great athletes on defense. And Virginia, you know, you'd think when you play a great defense, you might need surprise and trickery. That's really not the case. What they need is a little deception, but they need execution in the running game and from their quarterback. Aaron Brooks has to continue to be efficient with the passing game and then be spectacular in the running game. That means when he gets in the pocket and he gets flushed, he has to produce like he did against Wake Forest right here.
Well, it's Parents' Day at Florida State. And a lot of interested onlookers, including Ron Winkie, will watch his son play quarterback for the Noles. Number 6 against number 12. We'll kick it off when we come back.
It all began with its solid form design. Now that design is achieving some very solid results, presenting the most solid Grand Am ever for the most solid ride of your life. And now Grand Am has been ranked the most appealing entry midsize car by J.D. Power and Associates. It's excitement, well-built. Grand Am by Pontiac. Get into a well-equipped Grand Am today for only $229 a month and drive away with one solid deal.
What are you doing?
Winning a trip to Hawaii.
Mow the lawn.
Can't. There's some tough bugs out there.
Find Flick from Disney and Pixar's A Bug's Life stamped on the bottom of specially marked cans of Dr. Pepper, and you're off to Hawaii. Or enter to win PlayStation game consoles and other prizes.
Look at this yard.
A Bug's Life is coming to theaters, and Dr. Pepper sending you to Hawaii.
Call Gardner.
America Online introduces new version 4.0.
There has never been a better time to get online.
The easiest just got easier.
Instant messages.
I can customize my email.
My niece sent me a picture.
If you have a phone line, you can be online.
It's the easiest way to keep up with old friends.
Everyone I know is on it.
We've spent over $1 billion to create a state-of-the-art high-speed network, and with 56K, connections are faster than ever. It's the ultimate local guide.
New 4.0, check it out.
It's my connection to the world.
America Online, so easy to use, no wonder it's #1.
Trust. We are not born with an instinct to trust. Trust must be earned. Trust must be proven. We earn it with integrity. We prove it with sound advice. Trust is the ultimate measure of our success. And that is why we measure success one investor at a time.
Back at Doak Campbell Stadium, and one of the great sights in all of college football. You just hope that that lance doesn't end up in the heart of the Cavaliers if you're a Virginia fan. I guess they got a defense that comes at you that way, that's for sure. Mickey Andrews talking with him yesterday. Maybe not the superstars, but they're deep.
You know, 21 players on defense have more than 20 tackles on defense. We're not talking about special teams. They go too deep on defense. Virginia must think about that, control the football, and try to be ready for the fourth quarter.
Florida State has lost only once this year. That was to North Carolina State in an upset. But, of course, they have come back now, and they've been nearly flawless ever since. Chris Wankie's been almost perfect, and the second winningest coach actively in the country against the winningest coach in ACC history in George Welch. And, of course, that would be a little different maybe if Florida State had been in the Atlantic Coast Conference a long time, because Bobby Bowden would be the #1 man. But they are two excellent field generals and set to do battle. Only one of the two losses in 53 conference games suffered by Florida State has been at the hands of Virginia, and you saw that in our open. We were there in Charlottesville that night 3 years ago, And Florida State doesn't want that to happen because they feel as though they can work their way back into the bowl championship picture if they can continue to win.
You know, that loss, a lot of people talk about the ACC gaining confidence with that loss in Virginia and also NC State's victory over Florida State. But I think it's refocused Florida State.
Yeah.
We watched them practice, and they had a great practice. Talking to George Welsh, he said his guys did not have a great practice this week, but he also was quick to point out doesn't mean anything.
Right. Laveranues Coles has the best wheels on this field. And set to kick off. Virginia won the toss and deferred. David Green will tee it up. It is a picture-perfect day for football here in the South, the sunny South. Cavaliers once beaten. We saw that one in Atlanta when they had a 21-point lead and lost to Georgia Tech. Their record would be unblemished were it not for a fourth quarter falter there. Here's a line drive kick taken at the 6-yard line. Coles jitterbugs across the 25 and out near the 30-yard line. That's where the Florida State high-powered attack will go to work. 24-yard kick return as we check the starting lineups. Our Chile starting lineup for the Seminoles. Their front wall offensive line is really the question mark on this team. There are no great players on there. And as Mark Richt, the offensive coordinator, says, it seems like they're a cocoon trying to break through so they can fly. That's how much they've struggled a little bit on that offensive line. But they don't have any problem flying when you get to the outside and you get the right arm of Chris Weinke in gear. And he'll start from the shotgun with 4 wide receivers. From the 30. And that's going to be a loss of about a half-yard to Ron Dugans, one of those starting wide receivers. Here's how the big uns up front look on the Chile starting lineup. Brandon Whitaker, Thomas Carmichael, and Carlos Thomas. That's the front wall. Peter Warwick, Ron Dugans, and Marvin Minnis, the 3 wide receivers. And in the backfield, Laveranues Coles. We put him in there actually as a 12th man because he's going to play more than one spot today. So it's almost like they've got 12 guys on offense, and sometimes it looks that way. Travis Minor is their leading rusher, and he takes it out to the 35-yard line.
Well, Virginia's way ahead of last year's pace when Travis Minor took the first play of the game, 87 yards for a touchdown.
Right. So 3rd down, and Weinke to throw. Out in the flat, little screen pass, not going to get there.
Oh, that was a great play.
Warwick dragged down. Nice job defensively. Darrell Sanders got over there from his defensive line spot.
I think Byron Threet that time also was right in the middle of that screen, the outside linebacker number 32, to make a great play on that because it was set up very nicely.
So punting situation.
Talking to all the Virginia coaches, their main thing was let's not get behind like they were 21-0 early in the game last year.
Punt on the way. Terrence Wilkins waiting on it, and now will clear out of the way and try to get his Virginia teammates to do likewise, and the ball rolls dead. Only a 33-yard kick at the 30-yard line. So Virginia forces a 3-and-out, a great start for them. And here's the starting lineups. The Chile's front wall: Lawson, Rodson, St. Clair, Shannon, and Hunt for Virginia. Crawford, the tight end. Hawkins takes the spot of Kevin Coffey, who didn't even make the trip. Terrence Wilkins, the leading receiver. Brooks at quarterback. Thomas Jones, the leading rusher in the ACC at over 1,000 yards. And Southern is the fullback, and he's the up man in the eye. And 1st down from the 30. Wilkins in motion toward the ball. Looked like Florida State jumped into the neutral zone, and flags will end this play before it can get started. And while we have the penalty, we have a chance to look at the Florida State defense. Bryant, Johnson, Smith, and Seymour up front, and they will flat get after you. All have speed, but they're not the superstars of the Wadsworths and Wilsons of seasons past. Their linebacking core is deep and talented, and Brian Allen, Lamont Green, and Bobby Rhodes will start in those linebacker spots. The secondary, Tate Cody and Mario Edwards on the corners. Dexter Jackson and Derek Gibson are the safeties. So a free 5 yards for Virginia. And a 1st and 5 from the 35. Again, looks like the same play as Wilkins is in motion, and it's a draw play to Jones. He got almost 3 before he swarmed under by Florida State. And it'll bring up a 2nd down and 2. There's the linebacking core. Lamont Green's been out since the Miami game. Back there, healthy and starting today. That gives him a little extra boost in that category. Edwards, Jackson, Gibson, and Cody. Edwards and Cody, the great cover guys. And Jackson and Gibson will take your head off. So it's second down and a long 2.
I think the MO for the Florida State defense is they're great cover and great pass rushers, but they also are very good at stopping the run to force you into that passing game.
They fake the draw. They want to throw a screen, and they almost had it intercepted. Lamont Green, the aforementioned number 45, almost picked that off.
Well, you mentioned Lamont Green, number 45, one of the seniors, one of the very few seniors on this football team. Really has fought his way into the starting lineup. You see that bandaged left elbow. He hurt that in the second play of the Miami game. Playing behind a lot of great talent. He was one of the most highly recruited football players in the country 4 years ago. And now he's finally got his chance. And he may not be entirely healthy, but he's entirely ready.
That's right. Third down and 2. Fans starting to get ready here for the Florida State defense. Wilkins in motion across the field. And again, they jump inside. And again, it's going to be a first down for Virginia unless they move. I think Larry Smith, again, is the guy that fell out of his stance inside for Florida State.
Well, so far, the leading ground gainer for Virginia is the defensive lineman for Florida State.
Jim Knight, our referee.
Very interesting philosophy that George Welsh has talked about with his offensive line. I mean, they've done just day and night from a year ago when they just averaged just over 100 yards a game running the ball. He wanted them to get smaller this year, more like the Denver Bronco offensive line, and they've really molded themselves into a good running attack this year. But you know what? Those two tailbacks help.
Fatty Shimon, their right guard, said, you know, last year I just kept watching those guys whiz right by me on the defensive line. Brooks with time. Deep ball into double coverage, and it's incomplete. You know, you talk about Florida State and having so many different people that they'll change up through the course of a game. With that in mind, here's the second starting lineup for Florida State. We'll call them the B squad. Reynolds, Rhodes, Simon, who's in there right now, and Warren up front. The linebacking core when they bring the second wave, Rackley, Stevens, and Humphrey, and in the secondary, and they stay pretty good, Saunders, Hope, Key, and Thomas. And we did that just because normally you don't have this many guys play defense.
Right. I mean, Will, we've been doing this 7 years. We've never introduced the second team defense, have we?
It was time for it. 2nd and 10 from the 43. Brooks over the middle. Wide open is his tight end, and he's got a first down. Casey Crawford caught 4 passes in the opener against Auburn. We saw him drop 2 or 3 in the last couple of weeks. And that's his 6th catch of the year, but it comes at a good time and keeps the drive alive.
I saw Casey Crawford on the field walking way before even any one of his teammates was even out here. He was very focused, walked up and down the 100-yard field maybe 2 or 3 times. He knows he dropped a couple of key balls, and he wants that ball back. The only way to get it back is to catch it.
That's right. So first down in Florida State territory for the Cavaliers. Remember, they've picked up a couple of key 5-yard chunks by penalty to keep this thing going. Just inside the Noles 47. Whew, what a collision. Lamont Green is the guy that just about took the head off of Thomas Jones after Tony Bryant made initial contact.
You know, Lamont Green is finally a starter, but he was the 3rd leading tackler on this team a year ago. Now he says it's my turn. Start the pass game a little bit, come back with the isolation play that Thomas Jones has done such a great job, but dancing around against this defense will not get you a lot of yardage. You have to hit that hole 100 miles an hour.
Your dance car could get full in a hurry here.
Yeah.
2nd down along 9. James Johnson, a wide receiver in motion.
Well, here we go again.
With a flag down, will take off on his own. And inside the 40 and out of bounds with what would be first down, a 13-yard scamper for Brooks.
Now, we talked about Virginia and Aaron Brooks and what he could bring to the table. If he's efficient throwing the ball, that's going to be great because the running game is going to be there. But if he can make big plays with his feet, just like he did right there, and then number 2, stay healthy. Because last year he was knocked out of this game. I think that's going to be a great weapon for this Virginia football team.
So Florida State, another penalty. Declined, obviously, to take the 13-yard run by Brooks.
I mean, you saw him coming out of that pocket. I'm not exactly sure it was a linebacker. It looked like who he was matched up against. But he gave him one of those Joe Hamilton jitterbugs. And Aaron Brooks might not have been allowed to say anything this week with his mouth, but he's talking with his feet right now.
Talked a lot before the Wake Forest game, and that's when the censorship started from Coach George Welsh. First down just inside the Seminoles' 33-yard line. 7th play of the opening drive for the Cavaliers. Option, and about a yard, maybe 2. Corey Simon went low and knocked Brooks off his pins.
I get a real kick out of the Florida State press and the media and a lot of their literature calling this defense the no-name defense. I can just imagine recruiting coordinators around the country snickering from ear to ear because there's a lot of great players on the field.
They know them all, I'll tell you that much. Bobby Bowden, 7-1 against Virginia, including a couple of wins as head coach at West Virginia. 2nd down and 9, 10.5 minutes to go first quarter. Hawkins in motion. Brooks with a flag down will keep it again. And forced out of bounds after about a 4-yard gain.
I had to chuckle on that. I don't know if we got this, but Aaron Brooks runs a naked keeper on this and gets outside of 3 guys from Florida State. Watch this. 3 people are going for the quarterback, and they all miss him. Not one of the 3 is there to get him. That's having 3 guys in the quarterback, and it's Alphonse Gaston, and give me another name.
Just pick somebody.
And that's another offside penalty again.
Talking with George Welsh last night, and he said Florida State's so fast and so good defensively that sometimes they can't over-pursue. And you might see some more end-arounds and those types of things from the Virginia offense today against this Florida State defense.
Well, you know, I thought it was interesting what Mickey Andrews said, also the fine defensive coordinator for Florida State. He said, you know, sometimes when we get in these big games, our guys try to do too much. If they just stick with their rules, we'll be fine.
2nd down. At the 27 of Florida State. Now it's Jones straight ahead. Got inside the 24, but he didn't pick up the first down. It's going to be 3rd and about a yard. Derek Gibson came in to make the stop. Jones over 1,000 yards running this year after almost 700 a season ago. And right now, Virginia leading the ACC and 7th in the country in rushing, 240 yards a game. And that's more than double what they did a year ago, and these are the reasons why, these 2 fellas.
Yeah, those are the 5 guys up there. Although today, number 56, Evan Routson, a freshman, is playing in place of Noah Montaigne, who's still battling that ankle injury. Didn't even make the trip.
Big 3rd down here for Virginia on their opening drive. 3rd and 1. 2 tight end set. Jones cuts outside. Got the first down to the 21-yard line.
Boy,
Dexter Jackson made the tackle.
This brings huge smiles to that Virginia camp right now, being able to take some clock off the ball, running the ball from the I formation. You see it, 240 yards a game. They're at number 7. The other 6 teams ahead of them are all option football teams. Army, Navy, Air Force. I think Missouri's up there. I think Nebraska's up there. New Mexico State. All option teams. This is the best rushing team in the country that does not feature the option.
And they're coming right at the Florida State defense here. 10th play of the drive. First down at the Seminole 21-yard line. No score in the first quarter. And it's Jones running wide again behind his fullback. Got a block, put his head down, and goes down to the 13-yard line. Southern was leading the way, and he got a piece of somebody out there before Lamont Green finally brought Jones down.
I'll tell you who else is having a great game to start this game off. Casey Crawford, their tight end. He is walling off those wide-setting defensive ends for Florida State. He's on the left side over here. Watch Casey Crawford. This time, he pins the end man on the line of scrimmage. Southern scrapes to the outside, and Thomas Jones just follows the big fullback.
There he is, and they stay with the 2 tight ends. Casey, 6'6", 250-pounder. Set the line up with a 2nd down and 2 for Virginia down in the Florida State 13-yard line. Jones fighting toward the 10. He's going to be very close, maybe close enough to look at. Dexter Jackson, one of many, along with Tony Bryant there to help on the tackle. And the spot could determine whether or not this is a first down.
Of course, starting these afternoon games like this, it's like playing center field at Yankee Stadium with those shadows creeping over the grandstands right there. Right now, It's in the Virginia's eyes, but they're not squinting, and they're believing what they're seeing because they're running the ball.
As they stretch it out that much short, about 6 chain links.
They're rubbing their eyes. They can't believe what they're seeing, being able to control the line of scrimmage like this.
Problem for Virginia, they can make you rub your eyes in the Sunshine State. 0 for 8. That includes bowl games. That includes games against Miami, Florida, and Florida State.
And one other. Illinois down here one time knocked them off.
One of the bowl games, yeah. Of course, as you saw, they were all top 25 teams. That has a little bit of a bearing as well.
You know, if you look, Virginia has been successful running the ball to the left. Josh Lawson and Evan Routson, number 52 and 56, are freshmen playing over there. That's quite a job by those guys, and it's a real salute to their offensive line coach, Paul Shudell, who does a great job.
Well, Virginia's already converted 1 3rd and 1 on this drive. They've got another one here, 3rd and about 6 inches. Brooks will do it himself, but a flag down. And let's see who the motion came against.
I think this time it's Virginia, don't you?
I do, too. Jim Knight's good to see. This is the first game we've had Jim back since last year. And it's good to see him out there. Of course, a lot of you know Jim had a heart attack on the field in North Carolina last year.
And typical of you, you have no mercy to him, do you?
I called him and told him I missed my flight as soon as he got better. He thought that was pretty good, actually. So they back it up to the 16-yard line, where it's 3rd and a long 5 now.
See, that's what I'm talking about, execution for Virginia. When you do everything well, you can move the ball against any defense, I believe. You got to look at it that way offensively. Now, this penalty right here, backing it up. You're taking a 1st down to a 3rd and 5 or 6. And now it's in Florida State's camp as Brooks has to take a timeout.
Timeout with 7:44 remaining in the 1st quarter. Virginia in the midst of a good-looking drive trying to score. We'll see if they do when we come back.
Chili's Ranch Hand Filet. Slow grilled over an open flame for a real outdoor flavor. Then placed on awesome blossom strings and served with skillet potato cakes and grilled veggies. Only at Chili's.
Introducing the all-new Grand Am GT. Its solid form design provides a stronger body structure, so you can have the ride of your life with fewer vibrations. Excitement, well built. The all-new Grand Am GT by Pontiac.
Work piling up? That's the perfect time to declare a national holiday. National Car Rental is declaring every day a national holiday. With our great holiday rates, you can escape to the outdoors. Or the golf greens, or just about anywhere else by running a mid-size from National in Orlando or Los Angeles for only $159 per week. At this rate, you can't afford to stay home. So call National Car Rental now and declare your own national holiday.
Sunday, it's a premier movie event when Whoopi Goldberg goes back in time.
It's a thing, look.
Whoopi Goldberg, A Night in Camelot, ABC Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
From Whoopi to the Wahoos. No score, 7:44 1st quarter, but the Cavaliers driving on the Florida State defense, and have moved it down to the 16-yard line. Much different scenario, though, than before the penalty. It's 3rd down and a long 5 coming up. They've got 3 wideouts in there. Virginia on their 3rd downs. Last week, 60% against Wake.
Yeah, 60% against Wake, and they did very well against San Jose State. But against the big competition, they have not done well, considering they're a running team.
3 wideouts all to the near side, and now James Johnson in motion. Brooks, heavy pressure. Got away from a couple, but not the 3rd wave. Got it. Lamont Green sacks him for a 5-yard loss. Boy, has he returned in fine form. That'll force a field goal attempt.
Real interesting, too, because Virginia really caught Florida State off balance with the type of substitution they had And if Aaron Brooks didn't have pressure up front, Corey Simon is, I think, the guy who got in there with a little twist up front, really flushed Brooks out. But Terrence Wilkins was matched up on a linebacker that time. They had a great play possible there.
38-yard field goal attempt for Braverman. There's his numbers this year, and the kick is no good. So Virginia puts together a great-looking drive, but all they consumed was time. They come away with a missed field goal. We're still scoreless.
Select road. Validating tires.
What kind of road can you drive on with B.F. Goodrich tires?
Approved. Enjoy.
Any road you choose. B.F. Goodrich tires. Take control.
It all began with its solid form design. Now that design is achieving some very solid results, presenting the most solid Grand Am ever for the most solid ride of your life. And now Grand Am has been ranked the most appealing entry midsize car by J.D. Power and Associates. It's excitement, well-built. Grand Am by Pontiac. Get into a well-equipped Grand Am today for only $229 a month and drive away with one solid deal.
The more you do something, the better you get. State Farm's been settling car insurance claims for over 75 years. Millions of them. We've come up with a system that works so well that more drivers trust State Farm than all those cut-rate insurers put together. You're buying into that promise that we're going to be there to take care of you when the claim happens. Every day, State Farm handles over 30,000 claims. It's a practice makes perfect thing. That's the reason the competition doesn't stand a chance.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
No score, just under 7 minutes to go in the quarter. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Grand Am with solid form design. It's excitement well built from Pontiac. Florida State with a first down at the 21-yard line after the missed field goal. Chris Weinke pump fakes, wants to go deep left sideline. Peter Warrick got it in stride. He's gone. 79-yard touchdown. There's the sports car, and there's the old classic who threw it to him. Touchdown, Florida State.
Well, I was just about to say that Virginia has to feel good because in 5 plays a year ago, Florida State scored 21 points, 3 touchdowns. Now on their 4th play of the game, they throw a touchdown pass, and Tim Sproul that time knew exactly what Peter Warrick was going to do, and he still went by him.
Just couldn't hang with him. Kick by Janikowski's up and good. The big play man is 11th touchdown catch of the year. You talk about a home run hitter, my goodness.
Sproul had a man-to-man, but he knew exactly what he was going to do. Watch right here. He knows it's going to be an out and up. He's got plenty of time. He pushes now. No speed. Look at the breakaway by Warrick. A deep ball. Chris Weinke is one of the best deep ball throwers in college football. And that guy, they got to move back. I think they just got to move back and corner, right?
Well, that Pete Warrick touchdown of this ABC presentation of college football also brought to you by National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. By State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And Nike. And I guess Pete Warrick just did it.
No, interesting. Florida State, as you take one more look at this long touchdown pass, in the last 3 games, they have 10 plays of more than 25 yards. Virginia has allowed 13 plays of more than 25 yards in the last 3 games. I guess we saw a convergence.
I think so. Well, it took all of 11 seconds for Florida State to take a touchdown lead. Longest play of the year for them.
A big play offense is good. A big play defense, not so good.
Not so good. And we saw that happen in the 4th quarter, especially in Atlanta against Georgia Tech for Virginia. Sebastian Janikowski's got it teed up. This guy will probably kick it into the next county. Nope, line drive, taken by one of the up men. and out to about the 29-yard line. Normally, Janikowski kicks it out of the end zone. Coming up next Saturday, live at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. We got the best college football regional action for you. In the ACC, you'll see North Carolina battle Virginia or Florida State and Wake Forest. In the Pac-10, UCLA and Washington, Nebraska and Kansas State in the Big 12. And in the Big 10, top-ranked Ohio State will take on Iowa. Check the game for your local area and what you'll see or what you could get on pay-per-view. 7-0 now, and Virginia, after a good-looking opening drive of 13 plays and 49 yards, still doesn't have anything on the board. Jones right up the middle. Sean Key came up from the secondary to help out on the stop.
Well, you would think your defense would settle down and get used to that snap count after the first drive for Florida State. But now remember, they got the new guys
out there.
So they got the B squad has to get nervous and get on nervous. Another flinch up front, but the B guys are out there this time, and they stopped the run pretty well themselves. A lot of competition at Florida State to just stay on the field. Not just win games, stay on the field.
I'm going to take back that B squad thing. I think it's 1 and 1A. I think is what they have out there. 2nd down and 7. Everybody stacked in tight as Jones runs through that wave, and he's on his way down the left sideline. Thomas Jones all the way to the 30 before he's run out of bounds by Dexter Jackson, and a penalty flag at the end of it. 37-yard romp by the ACC's leading rusher.
See, Florida State likes to play their linebackers up in the line and attack. There's the linebacker right there. He's standing at the line of scrimmage. Now, when you run the ball like that, attacking, a new line of scrimmage is being made by that defense at the snap count. One block by a fullback, and you're gashing it all the way to the outside. Sean Key took a bad angle, and Thomas Jones is much faster than Florida State will remember, and you can see the tack on right there.
Face mask, I think, is what Jackson got a hand in there and kind of twisted his neck around. So tack that on to the 37-yard run, and you're down in the red zone again, down near the 15-yard line. 4th penalty already here in the early going against Florida State, all on the defense.
You've already seen Virginia attempt to run one option play. Sparky Woods told me it's very difficult to get outside this defense unless you're willing to run the option.
At the 15, 2 wideouts to the near side, and now Wilkins in motion toward the ball. And Brooks is going to roll that way. Wants to throw and does to the end zone. Flag down.
Oh, yeah, he held them all the way that time.
Mario Edwards is the guy that was covering.
Mario Edwards grabbed Terrence Wilkins' jersey right from the start. Number 7, watch the coverage and watch the grab. He knows he's beat, and I'm just going to latch on right there and just take a little pull. That's a great call by the back judge that time to see that. That's just after the grab that time. Then the feet were called. The penalty was already called by the time that happened.
If they didn't call that one, they could have called the pass interference at the end of it just about. So,
of course, Kevin Coffey, their outstanding receiver, did not make the trip. And that means Ahmad Hawkins, number 80, is going to be the other starting wide receiver today.
So now Virginia's down close, just outside the 2-yard line, trying to tie this thing up in the first quarter. The quick strike Florida State offense.
Where was the ball before that play?
At the 15, right?
Well, why is it not half the distance? Is that an Ask Gary or is that an Ask Brad?
I don't know. Let's ask everybody out there. They can get online and tell us. Just outside the 2. Got a power eye set in there. And they're in the end zone. Touchdown, Virginia. So the ground game has tied it up. Anthony Southern. Little Southern cooking in the Florida State end zone.
You can see it. They tilt the backfield to the right and then come back and run away from it. Anthony Southern coming right back this way. Got the guard, the tailback, the other fullback all stuffing it in there. Patrick Washington gets a nice block, and Anthony Southern just fits it in, and that is huge. That's Southern fried right there.
It is. He fried Brian Allen and Dexter Jackson and bowled them over to get in the end zone. Braverman's extra point is up and good. With 5:42 left in the first quarter, we're tied in this key ACC battle.
We spend an amazing amount of time selecting our fund managers and our analysts.
Everybody here loves the stock market. loves trying to figure out companies and understand their business better.
We have very bright people. We have people that work amazingly hard.
To me, this is my dream job. Picking the right stock is a great feeling because you know it has a direct impact on so many shareholders.
We pick our people just as carefully as we select our stocks.
Visit our website or call your advisor.
Whatever it is, do it. Satisfied. People know just what they like to do. Whatever it is, you got it. As long as it pleases you, go on and do it. Do it. Satisfied. Whatever it is, do it.
When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
If you've been thinking about jumping into a rugged new Montana,
I need more room.
now's a really good time.
Never seen a minivan do that before.
Maybe it's not really a minivan.
Life was more exciting in Montana. Now jump into a rugged Montana with this limited time offer, but get a move on because the train's leaving the station. See your Pontiac dealer today.
You've been watching videos for a long time, but I bet you don't know. AFB on ABC. You'll be surprised. See you tonight. Well, Thomas Jones and Womack usually do most of the carrying of the football. Anthony Southern gets it on swing passes out of the backfield, but he's the guy that capped that last drive off with a good 2-yard tough touchdown run.
And Virginia continues to run the ball to their left so far in this football game. Surprisingly, to the direction of their 2 young freshman offensive linemen. They must have some type of a feel that they like in scouting and watching this Florida State defense that they want to go left.
Virginia already was 69 yards on the ground, and Bobby Bowden's defense only gives up 91 a game. So Virginia showing why they're the top-ranked rush group in the Atlantic Coast Conference. David Green to kick. Lavernius Coles pounds that number 7 on his chest, takes it high in the air, and will take a knee. And Florida State will work from the 20-yard line. Time now for Solomon Smith Barney remembers. Do you remember November 16th, 1991? It was Miami and Florida State. 25 seconds to go in the game. And wide right. And that gave Miami a 17-16 victory and the last home loss for Florida State. Since that time, they have been only touched once, and that was tied once by Florida, but the rest of the time they've won them, and they are the winningest team in the 90s. 38-game unbeaten streak, not a 38-game winning streak because that one tie was involved, but 38 straight without a loss is the best in the country after Nebraska's loss to Texas last week. Here's a draw play, and it opened up beautifully out to the 30-yard line for Travis Minor, just a little bit short, I think, of the first down.
Well, in fact, there is not one player on this Florida State football team that has even tied a game at home. They were the recruiting class after that tie game, so there's not many seniors, but nobody here has ever lost or tied a game at home.
Makes sleeping in your own bed seem kind of nice, doesn't it?
Well, I know I've won all my games in my bed, so.
I'll call Christie about it later. I don't know. Second down a yard, and they'll go with a draw out of the shotgun again. Minor trying to bounce it outside, and good pursuit. And a nice stop by Byron Thweet. Drops him in his tracks, and it's going to bring up a third down situation.
Make no mistake about this Virginia defense. I mean, they are a top-flight defense. They may not have the great speed at cornerback, but that front seven, I mean, there's a lot of guys on this front seven for Virginia who could wear the garnet and gold and play for Florida State. They got some athletes up front.
Third down, a long 2. Let's see if Weinke throws from the gun now. He's got 4 wideouts to do it. Chris has time running out of it. Throws complete. Coles has got a first down. Out to the 35. Swarmed under by Wally Rayner and company. But he got 8, and they'll move the sticks. Cole's a combination player. He'll play some possibly at tailback today, and we'll see a lot of him at wide receiver, and he's been shining for Florida State in both capacities the last couple of weeks. There's his numbers as a receiver, averaging over 22 a catch. First down just outside the 35. Back to the draw they go. Minor got an opening again, and Travis kind of climbs his way out to the 44-yard line with a penalty marker at the end of the play.
One of the staples for this Florida State offense is being able to run the ball out of shotgun. And watch the technique that Chris Weinke uses on this play. He stays with it a very long time when he hands it off. He rides his arms along with Minor, almost like an option quarterback. And the reason is because he wants to set up the keep off of that play later and throw the ball.
Play action, right? Well, a penalty takes it down into Virginia territory for the, not the first time today, but the first time in a sustained drive for Florida State. Of course, the last time they got in this territory, it was 11 seconds running for Pete Warrick. Down to the 41-yard line. Tie game, 3:47 remaining first quarter. Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson and our ABC crew at Doak Campbell Stadium. Over 80,000 on hand for this one. Battle for the top spot in the ACC, and you know every member of the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech is watching this game in Atlanta today. They've got an idle weekend before they get back in action coming up on Thursday night. Pickup of about 4. Tim Spruill made the tackle on Travis Minor. Again, if you don't know the ACC race per se, Florida State beat Georgia Tech, but Georgia Tech has beaten Virginia. And Florida State's only loss was to North Carolina State. So right now at 5-1, Georgia Tech, Virginia, and Florida State atop the conference, and there you see it. And jockeying position for a major bowl or into the bowl championship series is at stake here in the next few weeks. 2nd and 6. There's the play action. Weinke wants to go deep on the sideline, and he overshot Peter Warrick out there.
Oh, he did. And you cannot squat to the top of the field against Peter Warrick, and that's exactly what happened that time with Antoine Harris. If that ball would have been thrown properly, that's another touchdown.
You squat, you get squashed.
Exactly. Around here you do it. Watch this. Watch this defender right here. He will not back up, and number 9 will get on him quick. Watch how quick number 9 gets on. He's just standing there. See that? He doesn't get that jam downfield like that, and if the ball is thrown inside the playing field, that's a touchdown.
3rd down and 6. Weinke's first incompletion. They keep it on the ground. A little bit of a surprise. Minor battling, but he won't get there. Got down to about the 33, and Monsanto Pope was there to meet him.
What you'll see now is Bobby Bowden will probably get on the headphones and talk to Mark Richt, his offensive coordinator, about whether he thinks we should go for it, what type of play he will have in this situation. Bobby is the gambler. He usually likes to go in this type of situation.
These kind of short yardage situations, as good an offense as Florida State always is, I still think they have trouble in this kind of set to try to pick up 2 tough yards. I would assume they'd throw for it. They're going to bring in their tight ends here.
Yeah, they might not have time. They're going to have to take a timeout.
They'll talk about it on the sideline. They do take a timeout. With 2:08 remaining in the first quarter, and a key 4th down situation upcoming.
It's a long 1.5 yards, though, to me. It looks like almost 2 yards, doesn't it?
2.
I'm a little surprised the way they could kick field goals around here. We saw some great distance in warm-ups.
There's how much they need, and that is all of 2 yards.
Yep. And I think you're right. They probably will be thinking some type of a pass in this situation.
2:08 left in the quarter. Tie game at 7. Don't forget tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern on ABC Sports. Thrifty Car Rental Skate America International from Detroit. Don't miss Nicole Bobick as she takes the ice in her first major international competition of the season. Gary will probably be going to that. Go watch Nicole skate.
Free tickets, I go anywhere, right?
That's right. This is one you'd pay to see, though. Virginia and Florida State. And so far, it's been everything we'd hoped here in the early going, which has 2:08 remaining first quarter. So Weinke's had his chance to talk things over on the sideline. And a 4th down and 2 at the Cavalier 33-yard line. This is the 8th play of the Seminole drive. This is a long drive for them. It usually doesn't take this long. They've got a tight end in there and an H-back. Lamar Glenn, who will lead the way, and here's Minor, and he runs for it, got it, and then some. Travis Minor run out of bounds out near the 27-yard line. He only needed 2, and he got 6.
Well, I wonder if Virginia lined up properly that time because they were outflanked before the play even started. Remember, Travis Griffith is not playing in this game, and Daryl Sanders, look, they got nobody. Their end is way inside. He gets hooked very easily on the play, and Travis Minor is going to set up a block in the secondary that time by the big fullback, and he just trots it for a first down. That was pretty simple.
So much for my theory that they can't pick up short yardage on the ground.
I mean, Virginia's lineup almost conceded the first down that time.
At the 28, first down, Florida State. 3 wideouts for Winky. 2 minutes left first quarter. Chris will throw off play action. Going to the end zone to Coles. And over his head, over everyone's head. Coverage back there by Wale Alegbe. And Alegbe's the guy that basically has taken Anthony Poindexter's spot in the Virginia defensive lineup, and we want to wish the best to Anthony Poindexter. Had his reconstructive left knee surgery yesterday at Virginia Surgical Center in Charlottesville, and he is a fine player and still in the hunt for the Thorpe Award, and we wish him the best in his recovery.
And by all accounts, it was not quite as serious. I know it was serious, but not quite as serious as some feared.
Second down at 10. There's Chris Wenke's numbers today, including a 79-yard touchdown pass to Pete Warrick. High snap from center. He one-handed it and lofts it out, and he got a completion out of it. Wow. Well, that was his first base move, I guess, on a wide throw to the first base side.
You got me. The only thing difference in it, he had the glove on the left hand usually when he played first base. When he was drafted by the Toronto Blue Jays, skipped. Everybody knows the story. I don't even know if he had a grip on the ball that time. Threw the ball to Marvin Minnis, and he just kind of lobbed it out there.
Hot potatoed that one out there.
He sure did.
Down near the 21. And as Gary said, everybody pretty much knows the story of Chris Wenke being 26 years old and a sophomore quarterback after his stint in pro baseball with Toronto. 11th play of the drive, and 3rd down and 4. They're going to try to run for it again. Minor got a nice block, puts his head down, and he goes out at the 18. I don't know. Close. Maybe close enough to measure.
Florida State, of course, sets up their running game with their passing game. And you can see Virginia, they're still thinking about rushing the passer. They're trying to match up outside with receivers who they don't feel they got a great matchup with their corners. And now he just pitched the ball around the corner. He got a pretty good shot at making a first down.
I think Bobby Bott would be happy with that 40 yards rushing here in the first quarter, probably.
Absolutely. You know, and after that NC State game, the 6-interception game, Bobby tried to reinvent this Florida State offense and run the ball more, but slowly by surely, with the emergence of Chris Wenke and the way he's been taking care of the ball, it's starting to look a lot more like Seminole offense that we've seen before.
They got the first down. .144 left in the quarter, and since the NC State upset, Chris Wenke has been almost perfect.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
16 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 209 he's put in the air now without a pick. And he's got his team in the red zone again, down outside the 17-yard line of Virginia.
Virginia has continued to be patient, keeping safeties back and not blitzing.
Minor straight up the middle. Travis Minor to the end zone, not quite. Down at the 2-yard line, tripped up at about the 4. Tim Spruill, I think, is the guy that got the hit, but he picked up 15, and it's 1st and goal, Seminoles.
Lamar Glenn, number 31, the fullback, gets the big kick-out block. Isolation, gets Rayner at time, into the secondary, and frankly, I thought he was going to score. That was a nice trip up there that time.
Spruill just got a hand out there on his way by, but it's 1st and goal at the 2. Travis Minor, 42 yards on this drive. Straight ahead, touchdown, Florida State. Lamar Glenn, who led the way earlier, leads his own way that time.
Well, what a way to reward a fullback who does a good job. I'm sure the Florida State coaches saw that block and said, hey, let's give it to the guy who made it happen. And then that offensive line had great push on this play. A beat-up offensive line. Jerry Carmichael had a nice block on the play, and they just stuffed it into the end zone.
So after Virginia comes down and ties, Florida State turns right around and takes it 80 yards in about 4.5 minutes. Janikowski, the extra point, up and good. The Seminoles regain the lead courtesy of a 13-play, 80-yard march. And they're in front 14-7.
And not a student. And conversely, it would have been much easier to have been just a student and left football for some other day and time. But it wouldn't have been as joyous, as rich, as humbling to have been one without the other. So for all of us, I say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Not for a single award on a single night, but for the many memorable and molding moments that we have had the privilege to call ourselves student athletes.
Florida State by a touchdown again with 1:18 left in the first quarter. And again, they did a lot of that on the ground that time.
I thought Florida State showed great patience with that drive. I think they have a great deal of respect for the Virginia defense. I thought it was a well-conceived offensive drive that time by the Florida State offensive coaches.
Janikowski's got it teed up. Or will in a moment. Antoine Womack and Ahmad Hawkins back deep waiting on it.
One of the things that Anthony Poindexter brought to the Virginia defense that I don't see them doing is moving him up to the 8th man and filling those lanes almost like a linebacker. I think they trusted that Anthony could read it and get back. I don't see that trust in a leg big.
That's more like Janikowski out of the end zone.
See, when you don't trust your safety, it's hard to move him up there near the line of scrimmage. Gets trapped up there for 1 second, and then the mismatches for your corners instead of big play catches for first downs, they get to be big play catches for scoreboard changers.
Yeah, that split second can cost you 6. The Polish powder keg, Sebastian Janikowski. I hope we get a chance to see him try a long field goal today because he can flat kick it, and he just proved it obviously on that kickoff. That makes Virginia start at the 20-yard line. So last time the Cavaliers put a good-looking drive together. In fact, their opening drive was a good one, but they missed a field goal. So let's see what they do from the 20-yard line. Womack in there at the tailback spot for Thomas Jones. Nearly interchangeable. Play action. Brooks got a man wide open, and out to the 28-yard line is his tight end again. And that's a second catch for Casey Crawford.
I really believe Virginia is using a check-with-me system. When Florida State brings in their 5 defensive linemen like they have on the field right now, 5 down linemen trying to get man-to-man matchups across that front, you'll see Aaron Brooks check to those pass plays and quickly try to throw to the tight end. The tight end is vital if you're going to move the ball against Florida State because they're so good at bump and run to the outside.
Second down and a long one. Just outside the 28-yard line. Again, Wilkins crosses the field, and Brooks wants to throw. Had it tipped and intercepted. Picked off by Dexter Jackson going the other way. Jackson still on his feet unless he stepped out of bounds, but the Seminoles have got it back. Tony Bryant, I think, is the guy that got a hand on that, and Jackson took the rebound.
Tony Bryant doesn't appear to be too tall, but with this front, he's 6'4". He kind of blends in there, and he's got probably a 35-inch vertical. And then Dexter Jackson, when he gets his hands on the ball, you never know what's going to happen. He was a high school quarterback, and those guys, I think, are used to having their hands on the ball.
That's the 3rd time he's had his hands on it as an interceptor this year.
And it's too bad. Terrence Wilkins, I think there was a pick play to the outside. He was wide open to the outside.
So Florida State, with the interception, gets it right back. End around coming. Warwick puts the brakes on, reverses his field, looking for a block. Almost went down. Warwick still on his feet, inside the 25. Warwick sidesteps. He's down inside the 10. What an amazing run to end the first quarter.
Oh, my goodness.
That guy's got brake pads where most people don't have wheels.
That was a Barry Sanders type run.
He only got 8 yards, but it was fun to watch.
I mean, there's only 2 players that I've ever seen do this before. Barry Sanders and Deion Sanders. That's the type of, how do you coach against this? What do? You can watch film all you want. Doesn't matter. This guy is just too good when he has the ball.
With its wider track and precise cornering, nothing can contain the White Track Grand Prix, not even your television. Stand by as we adjust your screen. Now you can catch the White Track Grand Prix GT and experience its outstanding cornering and control. Drive it for yourself and see why wider is better. The White Track Grand Prix by Pontiac. Now you can lease the Grand Prix GT sedan for just $269 a month. See your Pontiac dealer today.
National Car Rental presents The Drive for the National Championship. Thanksgiving Day, 1971. Top-ranked Nebraska versus number 2 Oklahoma. Midway in the fourth quarter, Sooner QB Jack Mildren passes for the go-ahead score, but the Cornhuskers weren't finished. Running back Jeff Kinney plows over from 2 yards out to give the Huskers the victory on their way to the 1971 National Championship. This year's national champion will be crowned in the title game of the Bowl Championship Series.
At National, we always thought of ourselves as the top car rental company, and now we're glad to see that our customers agree. You see, according to a J.D. Power & Associates study, National's just been ranked the highest car rental company in customer satisfaction in a tie. Thanks. We couldn't have done it without you.
Let's go.
He threatened to blow me and the bus up.
Monday at 5 on Channel 2 Action News. Kids on the school bus, out of control.
He was light and playful as throwing it around on the bus. We had trouble with weapons on the buses. Said she was going to cut me up, but she would cut me up.
It's a real danger that just hit home. Channel 2 Action News uncovers incident after incident. How risky is your child's ride? Monday at 5 on Channel 2 Action News. Coverage you can count on.
Brad Pitt. Monday's Oprah.
Monday.
Enjoy him while you can, folks. It's probably his last season of college football, and this is as good an 8-yard run as I've ever seen at any level. This is Pete Warrick.
Yeah, I mean, we were trying to, in the break, we were trying to compare it. I mean, I guess Roger Staubach had done stuff like this. Fran Tarkington. We mentioned Barry and Dion. That's kind of Michael Jordan-esque, isn't it? And the way he did that, that's incredible, electrifying. The concession people are unhappy around here. They didn't sell one thing during the break. Everybody was glued to their seats.
Florida State, second down at a yard now to start the second quarter. Inside the Virginia 10.
Give him the ball.
Glenn straight ahead, might have it. Maurice Anderson made the tackle. Pete Warrick, we saw him against Clemson last year, I think in the best game overall I've ever seen one individual play. Gary, you and I are in awe with his numbers as a punt returner and a receiver. And today, he's kind of picking up where he left off the last time we saw him.
You know, just a note, that offensive line for Florida State came into this game a bit nicked. Eric Thomas was hurting a bit, and he's been replaced by Jared Moon.
Almost every one of those 5 guys up there has got something wrong with them. They have been banged up. Right now, they'd like to go forward for a yard, and it looks like they've got it down just outside the 5-yard line. Chris Winkie, big fella, 2 1/4, and he takes it straight ahead. So it'll be first and goal. Florida State already in front, 14-7, courtesy of Winkie to Warrick for a touchdown pass. And then Lamar Glenn, their captain fullback, from a couple yards out, and now following Dexter Jackson's interception, they're right down there knocking on the door again.
You know, as fun as that play was for us to watch as just, you know, viewers of football and enjoying it, that's how demoralizing it was to Virginia, because they've got to contend with that the whole game on every play.
Warrick split down to the bottom of your screen right now. First and goal from the 5. Travis Minor. Minor down to about the 1. Maurice Anderson holding on for dear life. Travis Minor's not the biggest back in the world, but with a head of steam, he's kind of hard to bring down.
You know, this offensive line, we were talking about it for Florida State, has gotten bigger this year on an average of about 20 pounds per man. And it all started last year against Florida when they couldn't get the a touchdown when they needed it late in that game, and they had to settle for a field goal. Of course, Florida came back to steal that game and knock Florida State out of the hunt for the national championship. These guys recommitted themselves to get bigger, get stronger, and have the ability to push it in the end zone for situations just like this.
2 tight ends. Let's see if they push it in with a quarterback sneak. Touchdown. Chris Weinke from a little over a yard out. Well, the big guy had a first down and then a touchdown dive on that series that only went 17 yards in 5 plays.
Well, Chris Weinke, you know, it's so amazing. We saw him last year throw the ball in warm-ups, and he's a beautiful thrower. He just looks huge to me. Of course, he came out of high school. He was only 205 pounds, but I guess after 10 years, you can put on weight, right?
Another touchdown, and here he comes right at you. It's 21-7 Knowles.
I wouldn't call Charlie's parents overprotective, but maybe Charlie would.
If one has good, 2 has even better. Ouch!
His parents just want to make sure he's on the go safely.
Don't forget to buckle up.
So it figures they'd get a Ford Taurus.
Does he have enough pads on?
The only car in its class to earn a 5-star government front crash test rating.
Be careful!
I wouldn't say they're overprotective.
Other way! Other way!
They're just parents. Ford Taurus, built to last.
Could roses eventually cost a dime a dozen? Will you ever buy options on a rock star? Is there potential in the bot? One thing's for sure, opportunities abound. And every day we look at them through a microscope. Like a peak. Let's get to work. Solomon Smith Barney.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Next Saturday, number 4 UCLA meets Washington, or Nebraska faces number 2 Kansas State, plus other regional action.
Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson in Tallahassee. Gary was kidding around about Chris Weinke putting on weight since his high school days. 6'5", 225. He'll play another year here probably for Florida State and then go on to the next level, and that'll turn it over to another 6'5", 220.
Yeah, well, he's just 1 year removed from high school out of Walla Walla, Washington. The same high school as Drew Bledsoe, and I bet Mike Price cries every morning he's shaving over that one.
Jared Jones is quite a specimen. Watching him in practice, and he's the next in a long line of quarterbacks at Florida State that can throw the ball. Here's the kick return by Ahmad Hawkins. Got out across the 20, and a penalty marker might have had an incidental face mask in there.
I think we did.
Derek Gibson, I think, got his hand caught in the cage there, and he's pointing at himself. That's going to be the call.
You'll see it. He makes a little juke right here, gets inside, and then there's just the incident. Looks like
maybe it's worse than that. I don't know. We'll see.
I think that's what's being discussed right there down the field is how big was that.
Jim Knight will tell us.
Personal foul, 15.
All right.
I think that's the 14-point rule against Florida State.
If it's a tie game, it's incidental. If it's not, Mickey Andrews doesn't like it, I'll tell you that much. At any rate, that gives Virginia a great place to start at the 39-yard line.
I think it's absolutely imperative here right now that Virginia gets a couple first downs, rests their defense a bit, just shows they can continue to compete in this game. They just can't afford a 3-and-out or a turnover here right now.
Jones behind Southern in the Virginia I. First down from their own 39. It is Thomas inside the left tackle and got out across the 40 to the 41. Deion Humphrey made the tackle.
You could see the Florida State linebackers there. All their front 7, 4 linemen and 3 linebackers, all within a yard of the line of scrimmage that time.
I I was telling you the other day, I was watching film of Florida State, and I put it on pause, left the room, came back, and I thought their offense was still on the field. It was their defense.
Exactly. I mean, look how tight everyone is. There's no 4 yards back trying to hit that thing downhill. They're making everything happen in the backfield. That time it was again up front. Larry Smith made the play.
And Tony Bryant helped him out. Smith back and healthy. He was the guy, Mickey Andrews said, when we came in from spring ball, he was our #1 guy, and then he got hurt in the two-a-days in August.
I mean, just look how tight that box is right there up front. Everything is going to be attacked. Everything's coming forward. And, you know, you can only do that if you have corners that can cover bump and run. Otherwise, you got to back up.
Big fella out of Folkestone, Georgia.
Here it is again. Everybody on the line of scrimmage this time.
3rd down and 8. 3 wideouts for Brooks. They're going to bring the heat on Brooks. From the backside, they got it. Troy Saunders with a sack.
You cannot get in 3rd and long against Florida State. They come in with their nickel package, and then you have no idea who's coming. It might be a corner. It might be a safety this time. Troy Saunders comes in. Those guys are hard to account for in an offense. Remember, you only have 20 hours. You got a big tight end, Casey Crawford, trying to block a speed guy coming from the outside. Crawford knew who to block, just couldn't do it quick enough.
Scott to punt. Reggie Durden waits on it and fields it at the 26. Got by the first man. And got about 10 on the return before he's knocked out of bounds. So Florida State forces a 3-and-out. And with 11:14 left in the half, Seminoles in front by 2 touchdowns.
People smile and tell me I'm the lucky one. And we've just begun. Think I'm gonna have a son. And in the morning when I rise, you bring a tear of joy to my eyes and tell me everything's gonna be alright.
Aflac, insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Mission Control, we have a problem.
Even in today's high-tech engines, deposits can still diminish power.
Dirty fuel system affecting performance.
Enter Valvoline SynPower, a new line of high-performance additives and cleaners, a complete fuel system treatment, formulated with component-targeting synthetic molecules that lock on and eliminate those power-robbing deposits.
Fuel and air mixture, a go.
So your engine runs cleaner and performs the way it should.
We have it all.
Valvoline SynPower, rocket science for the road.
Everything was going well on Frank's first night as foreman until he made one tiny mistake.
There's a Ford F-Series in the lot with its lights on. There's a Ford F-Series with its lights on.
F-Series is America's best-built, best-selling truck. It's 50 years tough. And obviously, for a lot of people, it's the only truck that's tough enough. Next time, Frank, get the plate number. Ford F-Series, the biggest, toughest trucks ever built Ford tough.
11:14 in the half, an ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Ford Taurus. Ford, built to last. Burger King, if you ask us, it just tastes better. Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit. And Valvoline, you can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. Right now, Florida State has got some pretty good oil in their engine. They lead 21-7, and it's Cheney this time that goes out to the 41-yard line. Jeff Cheney, who had to take the spot of Travis Minor when he had his injury problems, and that's helped add some depth to the Noles backfield.
Yeah, and Cheney did a pretty good job, considering that last year he was a reserve defensive back.
That's right.
Goes against Southern California. Now, we've seen USC a couple times. That's an outstanding defense, and this guy rushed for 89 yards in that football game. It's a nice backup.
He got it out to the 41. Give Jeff 5, and it's 2nd and 5. Winky, play action. Sets deep, pump fakes once, and now he's airing it out long for Lavernius Coles. Almost intercepted, or was it? That one was scraped off the turf by Burnham. I thought he might have made the catch. Back judge says no.
Well, I tell you, Alegby was back there that time, but this ball was underthrown because just as Winky threw the ball, Patrick Kearney put a bit of a hit on Chris, and the ball just sailed. Actually, it didn't sail, it kind of died. Watch Kearney on the right side of your screen over here. pump fake takes a long time. Kearney's going to shove his guy, get in the picture, and as Winky lets it go, he just can't quite follow through. The ball dies out. And I'll tell you, I thought Coles could have caught that ball, and it looked like Burnham came up with the interception, didn't it?
Yeah, it sure did to me. Here's Winky throwing a rocket to Warwick, but he didn't hold it.
You're exactly right. I mean, a guy can throw the ball so hard. Mark Richt told us yesterday that we still have not played a complete football game. We're averaging 4 or 5 drops a game, but they're not making the critical errors. See right there. 211 passes without an interception.
So Virginia forces a punt. They come right back in force. 3 and out. Keith Cottrell to kick it. Low snap he handles. And not a good punt unless it takes a good roll. And it goes out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. Only a 32-yard kick. Adrian Burnham, the senior out of Durham, North Carolina. Let's just take one more look, see if we can see. There you see the ball still in the air. Oh, boy, that was
close.
It
this
sure
is the
was.
guy over here that should have made the field judge. Should have made the call. He had an easy call. Everybody's looking to the left side of the screen, but actually we should have looked back the other way. He had the best angle.
I think when the ball skipped out there, neither of the officials thought he had a prayer, and so at any rate, they get it back anyhow at the 27-yard line. Brooks, short drop, wanted to throw it out to Jones, and he almost hit Lamont Green in the back of the head. Corey Simon just leveled Brooks. And a penalty marker down in the secondary.
Field judge threw his flag very late that time. And you know what usually happens is when the field judge makes a call, it's holding on someone else the ball wasn't intended to. He waits to see if the ball is passed in the secondary. If it crosses the line of scrimmage, then he will call it. Lamont King thinks it's on him. It's not. That's exactly what's happening. See, I think there was holding on one of the corners on the play. And when the ball is thrown, then you make the defensive holding call.
Jim says it was holding on an eligible receiver.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It probably happened way over here. Someone that really wasn't intended on the play. There you see it. The arm is stuck out and grabbed on Terrence Wilkins. Yeah. And then when the ball is thrown, see, the official has to assume that he was trying to throw the ball to Wilkins. When he was held, he had to throw to someone else. That's
First
a good
down.
call.
7th penalty on the defense today. Brooks in trouble. Now he's got a wide open field. Aaron Brooks across midfield and out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Boy, there was nobody from the hash mark over on that one, and he took off for 20 yards.
Aaron Brooks is being very smart and very patient when he does run the ball. Remember, everyone is trying to tackle the quarterback for Florida State. That's the game plan. Now watch Brooks. I got enough. Get out of bounds. Even glance behind to make sure that no one's going to hit him from behind.
He didn't want to get jackknifed from behind. Out at the 43-yard line. First down.
That was my game. Scramble and look behind.
Thomas Jones with a carry. Larry Smith made the stop. Jones got a couple.
There's no worse feeling in the world than scrambling and know those defensive tackles are as fast as you are.
All of a sudden, your helmet's on sideways.
Right, some 300-pounders catching you from behind. In this case, it's not much of an embarrassment because most of these front defensive linemen for Florida State can run. I mean, in the 4.6, 4.7 range.
Second down and 8 now. And we're at the 10-minute mark remaining, second quarter. 21-7. Florida State leading Virginia. Cavaliers back on the Knowles side of the 50, though. Wilkins in motion. Brooks going to flare it out, and that one was tipped again. This time David Warren got a hand on it. It was intended for Anthony Southern, and earlier, remember, a tip pass turned into an interception.
Absolutely. He had him just as wide open, too. You know, Aaron Brooks is a taller quarterback, 6'4" type player, probably not used to a lot of athletic defensive linemen jumping up that quick and knocking those balls down. Most of us who play quarterback throw into lanes instead of trying to throw over the top. And I think against Florida State, you have to throw around those guys. When you're a tall quarterback, you're just not used to doing that.
We've sure seen Doug Flutie throwing in some lanes lately, haven't we?
He gets very few batted down because he's used to throwing around defensive linemen.
Third down and 8. 3 wideouts for Brooks. Steps up in the pocket this time. Now scrambles. He'll keep it. He might get there. Nope. Florida State has other ideas. Ball on the ground. I believe it was whistle dead, though. It was. And they're going to be about 3 yards short of the first down.
You know, I really thought the Virginia receivers that time didn't help out their quarterback. I mean, your quarterback made a lot of time, and all the receivers, none of them got open. I mean, you've got to come back and find an area as we look at the injured player. They're going
Corey
up.
Simon,
yeah, Corey Simon. Remember, they've just gotten Jerry Johnson back from the hamstring. Larry Smith was nicked. That means they've only got maybe 10 defensive tackles to play in the game yet. No one feels sorry for Florida State. They just get too much depth.
So it's 4th down and much more than 3. Almost 4.5 to go. And Brooks is looking to the sideline. George Welsh is going to go for it.
I think I'd use a long count. Right now, you tell everybody I'm going to go on a staggered count and try to draw him offside.
And he's done it twice already.
Yeah.
They do snap it. Brooks fires, got his man inside the 20-yard line, a first down throw. The only reception by a non-tight end today, and it goes to Ahmad Hawkins.
Well, that was a well-conceived play, and let's give credit to that offensive line because you know the Seminole defensive line had those ears laid back, ready to come. But up front, Lawson, Routson, St. Clair, Shimon, and Hunt did a good job of giving Brooks time to crease that defense and throw a strike. Huge points here for Virginia. Make this game 21-14 before half. They could stick it in.
8:46 remaining in the half. And they've got a first down now at the Knowles 19-yard line. Wilkins in motion. Back to the ground game, but not much there. Only about a yard. They've closed off Thomas Jones now in the last couple of drives. Sunday Night Live at 11:15 Eastern on ESPN. A Sunday Night Football. Don't miss it when the Tennessee Oilers take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are back to 4-4 now. And then on Monday night on ABC Sports, Monday Night Football at 8 Eastern should be a good one. Brett Favre and the Packers take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is the first time Green Bay and Pittsburgh have played each other on Monday Night Football. That ought to be a dandy. 2nd down and 9. Brooks straight drop, fakes the swing pass, goes back over the middle to his tight end. He's got Crawford for the 3rd time today. This time Casey's a little short of the first down, though, as he's hit at the 10-yard line, about a yard short.
Brad, remember in the open I said you don't need trickery or surprise, but you do need deception. And that's exactly what Virginia did right here. They took advantage of the pursuit of that Florida State team and did a little bit of a tight end delay. This was easy. Tight end blocked down, pitch and catch, took advantage of that pursuit and made an easy play to make it 3rd and 1. Watch the tight end. Blocks for a second, holds his count. There he is, wide open over the middle.
Remember, they tried that swing pass several times.
Yeah.
That time they fake it, come back over the middle. 3rd down and a yard.
Just a little deception. You don't have to be fancy.
2 tight ends set. Play fake again. Now they go back to the swing, and they've got the first down at the 8-yard line.
And that's the play that was batted down twice in this football game already. And that time, it looked like Brooks had a lane to throw the ball to Anthony Southern. And Virginia probably uses their backs, tight ends, as well as anyone in college football when they do it well. Anthony Southern plays not only because he blocks, but because he can catch the ball.
Last night we asked George Welsh about the tight end situation and that, and he kind of scratched his head as only George can. I don't know what's wrong with the kid. Well, Crawford has showed up to play today, and as you said, he came out here early and has been focused, and he's helped them down 9 plays on this drive now, and it's 1st and goal. At the 8-yard line. Brooks throws on the run. Touchdown, Virginia. Thomas Jones, a receiver this time, instead of out of the backfield as a running back. And he's got it back to 21-13.
That's the best, most important clutch drive for Virginia this season. Down 21-7. They went for it on 4th down to keep the drive alive. And I thought Aaron Brooks had his best drive of the season also. Had a scramble on it and threw a couple of great passes. And sticking it into the end zone against these guys, matched up the halfback against Lamont Green. That was a big-time 7-pointer for Virginia.
You put up 14 points in a first half against Florida State, and you know you're in the hunt. Remember, they had a field goal missed, or this game would be 21-17. 6:47 left in the first half. 21-14, the Seminoles in front of the Cavaliers. Time now for the Aflac trivia question. And our question this week, which two NCAA schools have had multiple Jim Thorpe Award winners? There's your question. You can noodle on that for a while. We'll give you the answer
One
later.
of them's obvious, right?
Well, yeah, I think so.
Okay.
The other one's not, I don't think.
Well, it's not to me, that's for sure.
I got up this morning still thinking about the second one. I know the first one. But anyway, think it over. Multiple Jim Thorpe Award winners for which two schools? And then we'll give you the names of the guys involved.
You know, what else that I think that touchdown did, George Wells right there, is kind of wash that taste out of their mouth of Peter Warwick on that reverse earlier in this quarter. I think now they can focus and say, hey, listen, they got good guys, we got good guys. If we do our job and execute a bit of deception, we got a good game plan. Sparky Woods can put us with a good game plan. We can move the ball against these guys. Now, all that said, they throw the ball deep to Peter Warwick, and we'll be talking about something else again.
Reggie Durden and Lavertius Coles will drop back, and watch out for Coles. He is the fastest guy in Florida State history, and if you think we're crazy and say, what about Deion Sanders, he's faster. At least in a 40-yard time, 40-yard dash time.
Of course, Deion had that chain that he was wearing.
Had he gotten rid of that Mr. T starter kid, he probably would have been under 4.15.
That's right. It's like wind-aided, you know, you got to have that chain hurting type thing.
Here's the kick to Coles at the 1. He gets those wheels turning. Right up the middle, he took it. Penalty marker, probably going to have an illegal block on the return. Jim Thorpe, semifinalist, by the way, for this year. Here's how the group looks. Dre Bly, Carolina, Champ Bailey of Georgia, Tyrone Carter, Minnesota, Antoine Winfield, Ohio State, Larry Atkins, Fernando Bryant, Antoine Edwards, Chris McAllister.
Of course, the Jim Thorpe Award goes to the outstanding defensive back in college football.
Dalen McCutcheon and Anthony Poindexter.
Yep.
We mentioned Anthony earlier, having had surgery, still very much in the hunt there.
Last year, Charles Woodson took that, you know, and I think along with Anthony Poindexter, who still has a shot at it this year, I think Champ Bailey is the other guy that really has a shot at it.
He's so fun to watch on both sides of the ball.
I don't know if there's a better cover corner in the game than Antoine Winfield from Ohio State either.
Chris Wanke will work from the shotgun here as the penalty backs it up just outside the 13-yard line for Florida State. The draw play to Minor. Travis waited for his blockers and got the corner and out to the 21-yard line. 6:29 left in the second quarter. And this is a look back at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, in case you Virginia fans forgot about this, we're going to show it to you one more time.
There's a he puts the brakes on and cuts back this way.
And he puts the hand down just like Barry Sanders does. Patrick Kearney says, I've never played lacrosse against a guy like that before. Give me a stick and let me whack this guy.
As far as I'm concerned, it's the best 8-yard run I've ever seen in collegiate football. Barry Sanders has had some runs for loss, I think, that have probably opened a lot of eyes, but second down and 2. And I don't think he got the first down. We'll check after we check in with John Saunders in New York. John?
This is the Burger King update. Oklahoma State taking on Texas. Texas had the lead. Tony Lindsay gets behind his blocking here and busted through for the touchdown. He also ran it in for the 2-point conversion. Ricky Williams struggling again. 9 carries, 24 yards. Remember, they shut him down last year to Oklahoma State. Brad.
Ricky Williams always has a tough time against that defense. Third down, here's a toss. Minor, and look at him follow his blockers. First down and broke outside. Still on his feet. He did not run out of bounds, and he's out to the 34-yard line. You talk about a guy following the big guys up front.
Very patient. He's the home run threat running the ball. 21-14, 5 minutes to go. But look down here. Virginia, 147 yards in the game so far. Now, when we talked about the goals for Florida State, they said we want to keep a team under 300 yards. Interesting, when I talked to the Virginia coaches, they said we would like to get over 300 yards. We got the Mendoza line, as Chris Berman would like to say, right there, and Virginia's right on.
First down run by Minor. Out to the 35. Nice give there. Out to about the 37. Maurice Anderson made the tackle. Travis Minor's been a workhorse today. Second down coming up. 4 straight runs by Florida State now. And Travis is up to 84 yards. And 6 yards a pop.
He loves Virginia, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. His first career start came against Virginia last year, and he really splashed on the scene. Winky, trouble, and down he goes. First sack of the day, and everybody was coming, including Donnie Green and Wally Rayner.
This time, they just didn't believe Florida State would run it again. Here comes the blitz, bringing the linebackers. Donnie Green weren't sitting in any zone that time. Crossed up that Florida State blocking protection and got a huge sack to make it 3rd and 18.
First time we've seen 3rd down and a mile for Florida State, but they've got the kind of guys that can cover miles for you. And they come out with a 4 wide receiver set, including Warwick right there in the slot to the right.
Virginia will stay very deep. Their safeties are 20 yards deep, standing right at the first down marker.
And Winky goes to Warwick. 3rd and 18, no problem. Pick up 22.
See, sometimes I think Peter Warwick is cheering for a loss of yardage, so he has an opportunity to catch the ball. A deep zone that time, but Chris Winky just zips it in there.
That he does. Are we going to ask you some questions today?
I'm ready. I've been waiting all day. We're online, I guess. We've been online probably about the last 5 weeks. Ask Gary.
You can go to the Bowl Championship Series website at ESPN.com or on AOL. And our keyword ABC Sports. We'll have our first question coming up after this snap. And we've got time now because we've got flags all over the place. From Mike B. What do you think the impact of Anthony Poindexter's injury will have on today's game? To ask Gary. And Gary's answer is?
Well, I think Poindexter, with the big difference from Poindexter than usual, is they aren't allowed to blitz their safeties. You know, they're not going to have that 8-man front up there because they just don't trust Legby. He has not enough experience playing safety. And Poindexter's such a sure tackler and a good reader that it's hard for him to do it.
At the 15, 1st and 15, I should say, and Winky had it knocked down at the line of scrimmage, and he got roughed up again a little bit after he let go of the ball.
See that defense wearing that little sticker 3.
Yep. In honor of their defensive captain, who's down with the knee injury. See the 3 right over on the left-hand side there.
Side. They got a bunch of stickers.
They do. There it is. Anthony Poindexter, who was along with Adrian Burnham, the 2 guys that helped stop Warwick Dunn on that final play that you saw to open up the show today. And it was, of course, the upset in Charlottesville back in '95. Prevented him from getting to the end zone. And now one of them still on the field today, the other's not. Winky just zips that thing down to Warwick. He just flicked his wrist, and that thing was there at the 34, and Warwick goes down to the 32.
Now, Winky was a first baseman, is that right?
Yep.
I didn't know first basemen had arms like that.
Well, they were thinking about making him a catcher, and he said, I think I'll go back to college football.
If I'm going to catch anything, I'm going to catch big defensive tackles trying to knock me down.
He looked like he threw that thing off his back foot and just flicked his wrist, and that baby was to Warwick in a hurry.
I can remember a year ago, we're getting ready to do the Clemson game and watching him throw on the sideline, and he has a huge arm. I'm not surprised that he can throw the ball and be so successful with it. Great arm.
First down now, leading by a touchdown. Winky play action down the middle again, and this one he overshot, intended for Marvin Minnis, who was open.
I think Mark Richt has finally figured out where the weakness of this Virginia defense is. They're playing wide. They do not trust their corners. Corners are rolling to the outside, and their safeties are 20 yards deep to help, and the middle of the field is wide open.
Clock stopped with 2:52 left in the half. Florida State 21-14. And Florida State still has 2 timeouts remaining. This is the 10th play of their drive. Virginia thinking about a blitz, and they will come on a run, and Minor almost slithered through there and kept his footing. He did get down to the 26-yard line. Byron Thweet made the hit. Travis Minor may be on his way, as Gary said. He really loves playing against Florida State. His first career start was against Virginia. He had 157 yards on the ground, 6 catches for 72 more yards and another touchdown. A 3-touchdown day last year.
That was a career best.
Yep.
First game. That ain't bad.
There's some dangerous guys out to the top of your screen, including Pete Warrick, wide to the left side on 3rd and 4. Winky almost had it picked off by Rayner. If that wouldn't have had so much speed on it, Wale probably would have held on to it.
Rayner that time sitting in the middle of the field. Rick Lance changed up the defense that time, put a free safety in the middle, and let the middle linebacker back up a little bit and read the quarterback's eyes, and he played it right into him.
Sebastian Janikowski's got 22 field goals already this year. This is a 44-yard attempt. I won't say this is a chip shot for him, but he's got plenty of leg for it. It's 22 of 26 on the season. Janikowski, and somebody partially blocked that, and it goes wide. Somebody got a hand on it.
Usually Janikowski gets such great height on the ball. Let's see the angle of this kick this time, because I'm not sure who...
Might have been Maurice Anderson.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they got a hand on it or not, but it made a direct right turn, didn't it?
It definitely did.
Hold looks okay. Ball gets up. Boy, you can't really tell there at all. Looked like he just hooked it to me. You know what? If you're one of those defensive linemen, though, you can go claim it, because no one will ever know.
Go celebrating off the field. At any rate, both kickers have missed field goals now. And Sebastian's not exactly excited about it on the sideline. So Virginia will take over. Now, they've got 2 timeouts left, and they have 2:07 to work.
2:07 to work, but also they have to realize they don't want to give the ball back to Florida State. Be patient. 21-14. I think you can go in at halftime and be happy with the first half. Bobby Bowden has to be pleased with the throwing of Chris Winkie and being able to run the ball well. They have 240 yards of offense in the first half. I think that defensively, though, Mickey Andrews has to be shocked that they're giving up the amount of yards they're giving up defensively.
As you see some scores roll through, you see that Wisconsin and Arkansas are still undefeated. Notre Dame got by Boston College. Missouri over Colorado in a thumper.
That was a big, kind of big win right there for Ohio State. Missouri winning that game.
Here was our Aflac trivia question. What 2 NCAA schools have had multiple Jim Thorpe Award winners? Gary, your answer?
Well, I know one is Florida State. Oh, the other one, Colorado. That's right. Chris Hudson and Deion Figures, right?
And Deion Sanders and Terrell Buckley for Florida State. So there's your answer. We hope you got it right at home.
I was guessing Michigan because Charles Woods, and I figured they won it one other year, but I guess not.
Our crack staff wouldn't let that fall through the cracks. Trust me. At the 27-yard line, first down, Virginia. They go with the draw play. Safe play, and it opens up nicely for Womack. And now they can start maybe thinking about points instead of playing it close to the vest as Womack rumbles out to the 45-yard line. He got 18 yards.
It's a nice block by the wide receiver that time, Ahmad Hawkins. You know, one of the things when you play bump and run and man coverage to the outside, when your receiver comes inside the block, you follow him. So in essence, you block 2 guys. If you're a wide receiver, you come inside, the corner comes inside with you. Troy Saunders gets you to the outside.
And a first down for the Cavaliers, trailing 21-14 at the 2-minute mark. Brooks in trouble, steps up, fires it down the middle of Wilkins, and Terrence has a first down at the 40-yard line. First catch for Terrence Wilkins on the day, the leading receiver for the Cavaliers, and now they're down at the 40.
Yeah, boy, has he come a long way, Terrence Wilkins. He's caught a pass now in 22 straight games for Virginia, and you know, everybody wondered about the Virginia receivers this year. Could they replace Jermaine Crowell? And now with the loss of Coffey, Terrence Wilkins is having a great year.
Well, we saw Terrence against Georgia Tech catch 7 balls. He had another 7-catch performance last week. Womack in trouble now. Down he goes, a loss of 5. David Warren, one of those defensive ends with great range, tracked him down.
Again, if you're going to run the ball against Florida State, you got to go between the tacklers. You're not going to run around the outside. They're just too quick.
Jeff Bowden on the sideline, the receivers coach here. With 1:29 remaining, we've got a timeout. And Virginia trailing Florida State by a score.
May I help you?
If I wanted a Whopper, no pickles, that wouldn't be a problem. But would we get to hear you sing?
No, sir. You get to hear us sing. Hold a pickle, hold a lettuce, special order donuts. May I help you?
If I want my value meal with rings instead of fries, is that a problem?
Value meal with rings or fries, it still costs the same great price. You don't have to ask us twice to have it your way.
When you have it your way,
It just tastes better.
The 12th Street Warriors is about to play the game of the season. This time, it's all about pride.
We can't lose to this team again, y'all.
Not this time.
We got this game. Only winners riding in this expedition. What about that pitch for Williams? I couldn't even see it.
But we are warriors.
Warriors. Warriors. Warriors.
So, you girls really showed up, huh?
You guys better pray for rain. The 1999 expedition built Ford Tough.
Looking for the cutting edge? Look here. The University of Virginia. Scout it out.
Promotional consideration provided by National Car Rental, the official car rental company of the Bowl Championship Series on ABC.
Let's go!
Aaron Brooks after the timeout. Coming back to the Virginia huddle. They lost 5 yards on that last carry. And, Gary, you know, you take away that one big run Thomas Jones had at 37 yards and the 19-yarder by Womack. Other than those two, they don't have much to show for their ground game.
No, they don't. I think, you know, the big difference has been Aaron Brooks rushing the ball, but he's their leading rusher in the game.
And there's what he's done in the air. We expect that to happen again out of the shotgun, 2nd down and 15. Going to roll to his left. Got a good block. Now throws on the run too high for Wilkins. Whew. And Wilkins got double popped by Jackson and Cody, who carried him about 7 yards in the air before they dropped him.
I give a lot of credit to Terrence Wilkins. He knew he was going to get popped on that. Dexter Jackson is a big-time football player. The ball is thrown high, and look at him go upstairs and ride him, and ride him,
and ride him
some more. And Aaron Brooks went over and congratulated his receiver and said, way to go up for me.
So now it's 3rd and long, and they're going to need to pick this up to have a chance to add some points before the break.
Florida State has their nickel defense in, 5 defensive backs, and they usually sit in zone in this instance.
Virginia counters with the 3 wide out offense here. Southern, the fullback, will try to help protect Brooks from the backside. The pressure's coming. He completes it inside the 40. It's going to be short of the 1st down, down to the 34. And it's too far out for a field goal attempt. Now, do you go here on 4th down, let the clock run down, and try another 4th down? George Welsh already tried one today.
One thing you do for sure is let the clock run down. And then I think you use your timeout and you make a decision here. Take all of the 25. They just started the 20. Well, they're going to take it right now.
Which would kind of indicate they want to try to go for it here, right?
That's, I guess so. Yeah. Because now, you know, if you don't make it, you still got plenty of time for that Florida State offense to go the opposite way on you.
So they're either planning on picking up this 1st down, or it's going to be the worst timeout call in a long time as far as when they took it.
Well, now I think maybe, you know, you get George right now, the more he thinks about this, the more I think if I was him, I would punt the ball.
Yeah. Well, they've had the timeout to go over all those options.
I mean, they could have bled another 25 seconds off the clock here.
52 seconds left in this ball game before halftime, and we've got a time right now to check out some other upcoming shows on ABC.
His first television event.
We're dead.
The last place a space shuttle crew would want to land is the only place it can. With a movie this spectacular, it must be November. Max Q Emergency Landing, Thursday, November 19th on ABC.
If you can dream it, falling in love, that doesn't sound so terrible.
You can live it.
She's not human. She's a dolphin.
The all-new Fantasy Island, ABC tonight.
It might be a fantasy for Virginia to think they're going to pick up this 4th down, but they're going to try it.
Well, you know, the other side of that coin that you're talking about, if you're George Welsh, is you're playing the best team in the country. You don't want to waste possessions. Let's give it a try. You know, you can't win being conservative. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I might punt the ball, but he's the coach.
From the gun, 4th and 7. Here comes a blitz. They pick it up. Brooks has it swatted down at the line again.
Trying to go to Casey Crawford that time over the middle.
Ball is loose, but it was blown dead back where the pass was attempted.
See, now the problem here, 49 seconds with 2 timeouts.
Only takes Pete Warrick about 10 seconds to cover this
that'll
much
just
yardage.
be demoralizing. I think it was Roland Seymour that time that jumped up and got that one right over the middle. You see everybody up front right there, about a 3-step drop, good protection up front. When he throws the ball, those quick defensive linemen just get up there and get a hand on. That's the 3rd time a receiver's been open and he's had it swatted away.
He was trying to go down the middle to Crawford, his tight end.
Now, hold your breath. If you're a Cavalier fan, if you're a Florida State Seminole fan, you've seen this before.
Knowles still have 2 timeouts left, and Winky, 4 wideouts, 3 of them to the right. He throws short to Warrick to let him try to do his thing, and he gets out to the 42-yard line. Tweet made the tackle. And Florida State trying to hop up in a hurry and not use a timeout here. That wasted a little bit of time for him. At the 42. Winky swing pass incomplete. And Chaney was the intended receiver there.
Good pressure that time for Maurice Anderson inside. If you're going to pressure the Florida State passer, you're really not afraid of Chris Winky running outside the pocket, so you can really make your moves up front and try to get that pressure right up the middle. You're not likely to flush them.
Travis Minor checks back in now to the Seminole backfield. There's Chris Winky's numbers, 50%, 143, and a long one to Warrick. Throws that slant intended for Warrick. I don't see a flag now.
Interference, absolutely. Just a bit of a panic as Peter Warrick was matched up on a linebacker that time. Byron Threath, I think it was. It's either he or Donnie Green. Sometimes that 32 and 33 kind of blend together.
And it was 32.
Yep.
You can tell by Legby slapping him on the shoulder pad.
18 seconds and still 2 timeouts. One more crossing route, one more, 10 or 15-yard gain. You're going to see a shot at a field goal here. Left side of the screen, you'll see the grab. I don't know if it was catchable, but there he is right there on the left side.
The hands in the cookie jar right there. So a first down by penalty down just outside the 43-yard line. And that's where the Seminoles still have 18 seconds.
And State will take a timeout and talk this one over. They probably figure they only need one more timeout to save. So you might as well get a play and everybody agree on it.
A lot of penalties today against Florida State. This time it goes against the Cavaliers, though. 43 yards and 18 seconds left to maneuver. And, of course, they got one of the most exciting wide receivers in all of college football, not just in the ACC, and number 9, Warrick. And he had one of those days last week against North Carolina. He's working against Dre Bly, who's a Thorpe finalist. Bly, number 31 of North Carolina. Pete Warrick got a hand out there and said goodbye. And that one got him down to the 1. And those two were tangled up all day long. Warrick just plain out-jumped Bly on that one as we were talking about Dre having great coverage on him really all day long, but just sometimes it's the timing of the jumper, that little bit extra speed.
Well, and Dre Bly said that no one else was going to catch a touchdown pass on him this year, and that was a challenge that Peter Warrick accepted. And it's not like, these guys are afraid to hear people talk. I mean, Florida State makes a living on getting people to quiet down.
Warrick is out to the top of your screen. On a 1st and 10 from the 43. Wanky play action. And he goes down from behind as they sack him for the 2nd time today. And it's Pat Kearney from the backside.
They were trying to bring Peter Warrick completely across the formation that time, and it just took way too long, and the pass rush was able to get Winky. Warrick was on the left side of the formation, and he was going to try to come clear across the field, almost a 50-yard. I know he's fast, but this takes about 4 seconds to get across the field that time. And by the time he was close to I don't even think he was open. I don't think he was open if he had 10 seconds to throw the ball.
Now another injury on the front wall there as Jason Whitaker just limped off for Florida State, their right guard.
Yeah, he was kind of playing on a thread anyway. He had the problems with his shoulder, and now it looks like he's limping off, and that's nothing to do with the shoulder last time I looked.
So now the line of scrimmage is almost the midfield stripe, and there are 11 seconds left.
Well, I guarantee you, Chris Winky can throw that ball into the end zone on one of those Hail Marys.
Might as well try it a couple of times.
Look at Outson there talking to him on this play, too.
That's Jeff Bowden doing the talking to Outson right now.
I don't quite understand if they're going to do some kind of a double pass,
maybe?
Yes. You can see him trying to protect, and I wonder if Alton could just throw it farther than Winky. That's hard to believe, isn't it?
It sure is, but he's coming in. Maybe they don't want that interception streak to end.
I got to tell you, I never like to throw an interception in this situation.
Remember, Chris Winky hasn't thrown one since NC State.
And Winky's going to be on the sideline and saying, you know, hey, if we're going to throw the home run ball, I'd rather not have it on my record.
Unless he was shaken up on that sack, I guess that's a possibility, too. At any rate, Alton's going to throw. Look to throw short. Now comes back across the middle. That one's going to expire the first half because they don't have any timeouts or any way to stop it. And they won't be able to get up there and down the ball in time. It wasn't a first down.
They took a timeout, but they don't have it.
They don't have a timeout. They figured that out now, I guess, and they'll head to the locker room.
You could write a bad check. Yeah,
there. Well, now we know why he wasn't in there. He's being helped to the locker room. We did not see him get up slowly after that sack, but he's certainly walking slowly now to the locker room, where Florida State will have a 21-14 lead. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
My name is Dennis Porter, and I work in the Ford Dummy Lab. They build it, we crash it. We don't care about the damage, we care about the people. Our testing exceeds the government standards. Ford has more 5-star rated vehicles than any other car manufacturer. We go that extra mile to make sure that our cars are safe. I'm proud of that.
Look, I'll make you a deal. If you quit, I quit.
Okay, Daddy. I just quit. Deal?
Nicoderm CQ.
I know you're not big on health in general.
If you're serious, you don't need help.
When I got serious, I realized I do need it.
CQ gives you a 24-hour stream of medicine that's with you whenever cravings come, even when you first wake up. Nicoderm CQ, the power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
Hey, a deal.
It's a deal.
Need brakes? Come to Midas for a break on brakes. Now just $69.95 after rebate. You'll get our standard brake service and our lifetime guarantee. Midas is $69.95 brakes. It's worth stopping for.
In a perfect world, broccoli would taste more like ice cream. In the real world, Diet Dr. Pepper does taste more like regular Dr. Pepper. It's the taste you've been looking for.
Nike Playcore presents...
All right, DeMarco, let's concentrate and keep our eyes on the ball. Stay with it. Let the ball come to you. Let the ball come to you. Way to hustle, way to hustle. Here it comes. Yeah. All right, you're the man. Good work. See, I knew you could do it.
Regina Miller, you stink. You stink. She ain't got nothing. She ain't got nothing. That was luck. That was luck. You shut up. St. Ignatius 8th grade girls basketball is fantastic. Regina, where's your game at? Where's your game at? Where's your game at?
I think big folks in Georgia should get presents during the holidays, too, and I can't think of any better present than $50 off your gas bill. I'm going to see Santa.
Just call 1-877-GO-SCANA. Switch your natural gas service to SCANA, and you'll get $50 worth of free gas, plus SCANA's guaranteed low price and great service.
I'm going to see Santa. I'm going to see Santa.
And tell me, young man, what would you like to have besides $50 in free SCANA gas?
How risky is your child's bus ride? Monday at 5 on Channel 2 Action News.
Valvoline, halftime 98. Brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. From our New York studios, John Saunders and Todd Blackledge. Florida State has never lost an ACC game at home. This one closer than usual, about 30-plus points, the average margin of victory for them. Let's get to the scores and highlights. The Ohio State Buckeyes have not given up more than 17 points this year. In fact, only 1-8 team hasn't given up 20. Joe Germain Well, he keeps the defense off the field here. He finds John Lumpkin 41 yards, 10-3 was the lead, and then Antoine Winfield gets into Sackville Burke. This one leads to a fumble. It leads to a Michael Wiley touchdown run, and we've talked about that defense. They're doing it again.
Outstanding defense make you earn everything. Michigan State with 9 points at the half, halfway to that 17 mark, but they can't turn the ball over in the second half if they want to stay this close.
Of the BCS teams at the top that are undefeated, Kansas State has the toughest schedule the rest of the way. They get to Baylor, not looking ahead to the game against Nebraska next week.
They continue to dominate, and they're led by Michael Bishop, who continues to make big plays. On the season, the quarterback, 18 touchdown passes, only 1 interception.
And of those teams at the top of the BCA standings, Tennessee has the worst schedule the rest of the way. One of the reasons, having to face UAB today. What's wrong with T. Martin?
He's no good.
Incompletions today. He had 23 straight last week.
Well, the Vols trying to make quick work of UAB so they can get a little rest for their starters. They got a very big game next week against undefeated Arkansas, who won earlier today.
Florida with 1 loss, like Florida State, facing Vanderbilt today, and still very much in that BCS hunt. They clobber Vandy 45-13. Doug Johnson with 4 touchdown passes.
Johnson back-to-back outstanding ball games for Steve Spurrier. The defense continues to play well. Speaking of defense, Vanderbilt last year the best in the SEC. This year all the way down to the bottom.
Now, we mentioned the 1 loss for Florida State and for Florida. They have the matchup at the end of the season. They are by no means out of this BCS hunt.
No, they're not. I mean, they need some help. They need somebody above them, a couple of those undefeated teams to lose. But certainly those 2 teams playing very good football right now, and they still have a shot.
Remember Florida a few years back, winning it in the Sugar Bowl. They needed a loss after they lost to Florida State. They got it, and they got the national championship. Nebraska won't get a national championship this year after 2 losses, but they blow out Iowa State, bouncing back from the loss to Texas 42-7.
When they lost to A&M earlier, they came back and pounded Kansas 41-0. Same kind of results today against the Cyclones.
Papa Bobby Bowden has never had an undefeated season. Son Terry did at Auburn in his first year, and now Tommy's looking for it as well. Now 8-0 at Tulane.
And Tommy has an outstanding quarterback in senior Sean King. He came in as the number 2 rated quarterback in the country. With those numbers today, he'll jump back ahead of Dante Culpepper again.
Washington against Oregon, and Oregon figures they still have a shot in the Pac-10. Akili Smith, one of the reasons why, goes deep here to Tony Hartley. He finds the end zone 10-0 at that point, but Brock Huard playing much better this time around, coming off that injury last couple of games.
Both Brock Huard and Akili Smith, both with 2 touchdown passes in that first half, but Huard also 2 interceptions. It'll be a shootout between those 2 good quarterbacks in the second half.
Texas got Nebraska at Nebraska this week at home to Oklahoma State. Major Applewhite, terrific youngster at quarterback, finds Ricky Williams, and that's usually a good idea. He does most of the work, 48 yards for the touchdown. Texas led by a touchdown in this game. Ricky Williams also with a touchdown run, 31-21 at halftime.
And a good job by Mack Brown getting the ball to Ricky Williams in other ways than just running. Oklahoma State, a good run defense. They've held him to 31 yards, but Ricky was 74 yards on that reception.
And Ricky Williams, take a look at the records. You know about the big one that he is going after, which would be to catch Tony Dorsett for the all-time leader in rushing Division 1A, but plenty more going along with that. Got to ask you, has he locked up the Heisman?
I don't think he's locked it up. I think you got to play all the way through. He's got a couple tough games against some tough run defenses. Unless he really stumbles, if he stumbles, I think somebody else could slip in there. If he doesn't stumble, I think he'll win the thing. But he's got to continue to play well against some good teams.
All of those records are going to be hard to deny in New York early in December. Alabama against LSU in the SEC, 7-6, low-scoring affair here. Kevin Falk, though, has a touchdown run, 43 on his career, 50th career touchdown overall, tying Dalton Hilliard for the record at LSU. Central Florida almost pulls it off against Auburn as Auburn gets their 2nd victory since Terry Bowden leaves. Dante Culpepper, though, was picked off 4 times in the game, no touchdowns. He had 3 interceptions all season before that. And have to send out congratulations to Troy Edwards of Louisiana Tech, their outstanding wide receiver. By the way, Tim Rattay only has 7 touchdown passes in the game. Troy Edwards now ahead of Jerry Rice, at least on the list. His next touchdown, he'll jump in front of him.
Well, everybody talked about Troy Edwards early when he had 3 touchdowns against Nebraska. They stopped talking about him because Louisiana Tech doesn't play a big-time schedule, but he and his quarterback, Tim Rattay, outstanding combination. They play Tulane at the end of the year. I'd pay money to go see that one. That's going to be a shootout.
It'll be fun to watch, and as I said before, anytime you're on top of Jerry Rice, you know you've done something well. Chris Wenke, 79 yards to Peter Warwick. Florida State leads by a touchdown at halftime.
looking for adventure, and whatever comes our way. Oh yeah, here in God are gonna make it. Ow! Born to be wild, born to be wild.
Tired of financial companies that make you feel small and unimportant?
No, I'm sorry, I can't help you.
Then sit down with a MetLife financial professional to discuss your financial future. Get Met. It pays.
Afraid your next get-together will be a flop? Order Chili's Party Platters. Act now. Call a Chili's representative, and your guests will flip over party-sized servings of buffalo wings, fajitas, baby back ribs, and more. And pre-party stress now. Order Chili's Party Platters new from Chili's.
Hi, I'm Ellen Taves Willard, and I've got a secret. It's nestled among rolling hills and towering pines, where Gothic archways for nearly a century and a half have welcomed young minds. It's where the spirit of service is measured against the spirit of history's heroes. And graduates go on to become governors, astronauts, and even the first woman to win a Pulitzer Prize in music. Perhaps you've heard of my secret, the success.
Valvoline, halftime 98, brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline. From our New York studios, John Saunders and Todd Blackledge. And welcome back. This is Valvoline halftime 98. Last year, when Michigan was making their run to the national championship, they go into Penn State and absolutely hammer the Nittany Lions. So looking for revenge today. Thanks, Keith. That's what they spell out, the band did. Keith Jackson on his victory tour today, and Tom Brady was on his victory tour as well. 7 yards to tie Streets, 27-0. Not surprising necessarily they win, but winning that big.
Well, they dominated Penn State for the second year in a row. Tom Brady, the Michigan offense has struggled the last month, had a good ball game today, but again, it's the Michigan defense that has sparked this turnaround in their season. Take a look at the numbers between their first two games, the losses, and now since they've been on this win streak, they're butting it down, playing that defense again up in Ann Arbor.
Still eyeing the Rose Bowl, perhaps. Wisconsin, a team that has yet to lose as well. Now 9-0, Ron Dane with 133 yards. Wisconsin has a lot of ground to make up, but they could be headed to the Rose Bowl.
Two things Wisconsin's doing extremely well this year, running the football with Ron Dane, and also they're not hurting themselves with turnovers. They're the nation's #1 team in turnover margin. 4 Minnesota turnovers today led to 13 points.
Dane has 34 individual records at Wisconsin. Ole Miss, take a look at this score. Absolutely has it handed to them by Arkansas, 34-zip, and Ole Miss, a pretty good team.
Arkansas played well at home for the first time in a month they've been home. Clint Sterner gives them good leadership. You want to beat Arkansas, you better get after them early. They've outscored their opponents 154-33 in the second half.
We'll find out next week, though. Arkansas has to face Tennessee. Now, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame, one of those teams that beat Michigan early in the season, and today against Boston College, Scott Mutrin, 7 yards to Anthony DeCosmo. Two-point conversion is no good, but take a look there. 11 seconds to go. Mike Cloud, with one more shot, gets stuffed in the backfield, and the Irish celebrate. Despite the fact Boston College had lost 5 in a row into that game. Jarius Jackson, another good performance.
Notre Dame struggled a little on defense, but they got good balance on offense. Jackson, a couple touchdown passes. Autry Denson, 128 yards rushing. Mike Cloud had 141 yards and a couple touchdowns for BC, but couldn't get it in there on the last play.
Autry Denson goes over 4,000 yards with the Irish. Only other back to do that, Alan Pinkett. Missouri beats Colorado handily, 38-14. Devin West, 32 carries, 146 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Air Force against Army, Commander-in-Chief trophy up for grabs. Now, if Air Force could win this game, you think of the option, but take a look at this. Blaine Morgan airs it out.
Well, Air Force leads the nation in rushing, so you have to come up and crowd the line of scrimmage. But when you do that, Blaine Morgan, an outstanding passer in this offense. Look at his numbers, 7 of 9, 167 yards, and 2 touchdowns. An outstanding quarterback for Air Force.
And how about the numbers for Dylan Newman? 2 receptions, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Purdue, you have to talk about the youngster Drew Brees. 6 touchdown passes today, now 30 on the season. That sets the record-breaking Bobby Hoyer's record, which was set back in 1995. A reminder, coming next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on ABC Sports. Some of you will be in the Big Ten for the #1 team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes, hoping not to stumble against Iowa in the Pac-10. UCLA, you see that number, they dropped in the BCS standings. They'll look to impress with a victory over Washington. Nebraska against Kansas State. K-State, this is the hurdle they must jump over. Or a game in the ACC, either North Carolina against Virginia or Florida State against Wake Forest. Check local listings for the game in your area. Back with more in a moment.
Tests have shown that some brake pads can take more than 20 feet longer to stop a car.
An independent lab developed D3EA, the only lab test which determines if brake pads are consistent with federal safety standards. Raybestos professional-grade brakes are D3EA certified.
What was 20 feet from you after your last sudden stop? So demand Raybestos and look for this seal.
Raybestos, the best in brakes.
Web TV makes setting my VCR so easy, even I can do it.
You are correct.
I can record my favorite shows with the touch of a button.
Oh, yes, wise one.
Hey, Ed, you want to record a show?
Yes.
Hey, look, it's Nova.
Nova.
Frontline.
Frontline.
Hey, Ed, bikini workout's coming on at 9. I'll record that for later. Done.
Hi-oh.
Web TV service, the internet, television, and more.
You're born, you die. In between, you work on cars. We should all be so lucky.
Valvoline, halftime 98. Brought to you by Valvoline. You can always tell the guys who use Valvoline.
Their dream started early. All the best of ACC football are going south for the winter to Miami, the FedEx Orange Bowl. This is the year to go bowling with your team. Watch their dreams come true with ACC football.
Think you've seen it all?
There's a head in the bag.
Just wait.
That's Jackson.
Is what's in that cooler what I think it is?
Sunday with an all-new practice. It must be November on ABC.
The election is over and the mayor can finally be himself.
Pulled my groin this morning.
Oh, no.
Yeah, felt so good I pulled it again.
You can't miss it, the funniest ensemble on television.
Just keeping it real, yo.
And Mike is as humble as ever.
I'm the deputy mayor of the world!
It must be November on Spin City, followed by Sports Night. See you Tuesday.
The Bowl Championship Series is online with live action, interviews, game highlights, and live polls at ESPN.com and on America Online.
Halftime, Doak Campbell Stadium. Florida State leads Virginia 21-14. I guess a couple of questions near the end of that second quarter. Question number one, did Virginia call a timeout too early and give Florida State a chance? They did. Question number two, Chris Winkie and his ability to come back in the second half. They're saying a burner in his right shoulder. He won't start the second half. Question number three, it's Ask Gary time.
Well, let's see what we got here. Of course, we're wired. We're online. First question from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. John, why doesn't Florida State use more of the short pass? And I think what you're seeing here from Rick Lance and the coaches from Virginia is they're willing to line up deep with their safeties, and they're running their linebackers short and bumping those receivers. But the middle of the field, the intermediate route, is what's open for Florida State, and Chris Winkie and Mark Reck took advantage of that in the second quarter.
All right, we got time for one more. If Virginia went to a 3-3-5 defense, would they cope with Warwick better? And that comes from England.
England?
I love that.
God,
You're international, babe.
I thought we were just in the southeast here. We're a little wider than I thought. You know, a couple of years ago in 1995, Rick Lance employed that 3-5-3 defense, and it really caught him off guard. I think he's trying to give Florida State a changeup. He's thinking they might have anticipated that, so you've got to keep Florida State off balance. I think that's why they haven't seen it so far.
Seminoles marching band just finishing up at halftime. We'll be back third quarter action, 21-14 Florida State when we return.
There is
no limit to where it can take you. A leather-trimmed and preferred suede interior, heated front seats, and dual-zone temperature control. Winner of the Total Quality Award for Best Ownership Experience. The most luxurious minivan you can buy. Chrysler Town & Country. We call it limited. You'll call it unlimited. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars. Now, get 1,000 cash allowance on Chrysler Town & Country.
Hey, can you play Macarena? Yeah, would you play Smoking Broken Heart? Hey, man, my girl left me. Could you send out a tune?
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, I got my baby back.
For a wife and for a partner.
Still in the locker room. And, you know, remember, if Florida State fans probably realize this, there's Marcus Outzen, that's going to be the quarterback. He's the sophomore. But, you know what's Dan Kendra was supposed to kind of challenge with Chris Weinke for this job. Kendra got hurt in spring practice. And then Outzen had a pretty good spring practice for Florida State. You know, he's out of Fort Walton Beach High School, the same high school as Danny Warfel. Led his team to the Class 5A championship here in Florida State. You don't get a scholarship at Florida State unless you're a pretty good player.
He's going to get his chance because Weinke is not even on the field. Janikowski to kick off, Virginia to receive the second half kick, and it's a deep kick that takes Womack down 8 yards, and number 8 will take a knee.
And we talked to Bobby about this possibility yesterday, Brad, and we said, would you go to Jared Jones, the guy you think so highly of? And Bobby said, we'd rather not. So we'd like to redshirt Jared Jones. We would probably go with Marcus and see how well he does.
And he said we'd give him an extended period of time, not as if to say one drive,
exactly,
but probably a half of a football game, which is what they might get from him today. So this changes the complexion, obviously, of the football game, and it is in Virginia's favor that it changes it.
There's Dan Kendra right there, the future fullback for this football team.
By the way, you can add about 30 to that 240 thing we had him listed at. Kendra is huge and no body fat. He's a monster, and he's going to come back and try to play fullback next year when he returns. Lamont Green and Jerry Johnson make the tackle on Thomas Jones as we just start the third quarter. Take a look at our Morgan Stanley Dean Witter first half statistics, and 183 to 252 on the total yardage package. And much of that 157 for Florida State, courtesy of a 79-yard touchdown, Weinke to Warwick.
Yeah, that's exactly right, but it's not cheap. It got him 7 points.
Yes, it did. So, second down and 10 for Aaron Brooks and the Cavaliers offense on their opening drive, third quarter. Straight up the middle, and Southern bounces out to the 34-yard line. Anthony's been a big part of this offense today.
Talked about Dan Kendra, blew his knee out in spring football, and our crack staff, you tell you we don't do our homework around here, the truck has the hit.
Oh.
Bradley Jennings, a freshman linebacker, you think it's rough around here? They wear red shirts on the quarterback, but that only means they're playing on the red team. It's not safe at Florida State when you play around here.
Man, and that ended his hopes for playing this year. Play action for Aaron Brooks. Scrambles around. Got a round one man. Wow. And Chris Hope finally brought him down.
Yeah, he got past Lamont Green that time, the safety, number 45, but it always seems like there's one more guy. You're looking at the statistical leaders in the first half. I thought Brooks did well. He played about as well as George Welsh could have hoped for in a game like this. He does not need unbelievable statistics to win a game. What he has to do is take care of the football. Last week against Wake, he had a brilliant game, 16 for 19. He doesn't even need to be that good. He just can't make the big turnover.
Brooks waits and goes deep in the middle for Hawkins, incomplete.
Yeah, he tried to go to Casey Crawford that time, and there was great coverage on the tight end.
So third down and 8. Defensively, in the first half, Lamont Green had 7 tackles. In fact, he had 6 of them on one Virginia drive. And Jackson had 5 tackles and that ricochet interception.
Just as impressive, I think, were the 3 batted down passes that really had a big outcome in this first half also.
So third and 8. Virginia on their opening drive, third quarter. Brooks pressured and throws to Jones in the flats. Made one man miss. Ball came loose, and he got back on top of it. Finally covered up there by Brian Allen.
I'll tell you, he made Mario Edwards miss on that play. Looked like there was a breakdown in the protection that time because Aaron Brooks had the defensive end right in his face when he let go of that ball. I think it was Roland Seymour who was right in his face, right from the get-go. Actually, it was David Warren, number 99. You can see it. That's the defensive end. Nobody is accounting for him. That's a bust up front. Probably was Robert Hunt who needed to block the defensive end.
Donnie Scott to punt, and Reggie Durden's waiting on it.
Great
Good kick.
Great.
Durden has to backpedal and lets it go at the 9, and it goes to the end zone. Well, he went right by the straight rule of thumb, 10 yards and inside, let it go. We got a penalty marker down, and we got a player down as well at the 30-yard line.
And I think it was Patrick Washington is the guy who was down and injured. Back up. Not supposed to go past the 10. Oh, exactly.
9.5.
I think this guy's an accounting major, don't you think?
So the 20-yard line is where Marcus Outzen will have to take over.
Well, I think there's going to be a penalty, and they're going to march it back.
It'll be worse than the 20.
Probably go back to the 10-yard line. Sometimes I'm right on these things.
And you are correct, sir. So they back it up. And that's not a spot you want an untested quarterback to be in.
No.
We'll see how he does when we come back. 12:26 remaining, third quarter, 21-14 Florida State.
Because there is a man in Chicago planning his retirement this year. Because there is a family in Boston who hopes to send their kids to college someday. Because there is a doctor in New York looking forward to the day she will open her own clinic. Because the dreams of every investor continue to change in a complex world, so too have we. Which is why at Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, we measure success one investor at a time.
Because of our passion for design and engineering, our vehicles speak for themselves. And recently, others have had some great things to say about our quality, too. Sebring Convertible, Total Quality Award. Town & Country, Total Quality Award. Cirrus, Best in Class and Initial Quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Concord, Best in Class and Initial Quality by J.D. Power & Associates. Chrysler, engineered to be great cars.
Head out on the highway, looking for adventure, and whatever comes our way. Oh, yeah. Here in God, gonna make it. Oh, born to be wild. Born to be wild.
Green Bay and Pittsburgh. They meet for the first time ever on a Monday night. Who says there's nothing new on TV? Monday on ABC.
That power forward in the middle of your screen is Jared Jones, the freshman quarterback.
Think about that kid playing high school ball just a year ago. I mean, he's the same size as a Carson Palmer and Drew Henson that went to Michigan. Probably the three big quarterbacks coming out last year. Of course, Ronald Curry starting for North Carolina, the other true freshman.
I wonder how Florida State's game plan will change now with Outzen in there. Antonio Dingle makes the tackle.
Right, and I think maybe the change in game plan might have just as big effect on Virginia's game plan defensively. Rick Lance will probably be willing to blitz a bit more, try to rattle a new quarterback. And, you know, we talked to Bobby Bowden about this. Would he go, how long would he go with Outzen before he went to Jones? And he says, you know what, I promised Jones that I would redshirt him, but I said, you never know, an injury, and I'll have to use you.
And we'll continue to check on Chris Winke's availability. Outzen, pressure, down he goes. From the backside, it's Kearney again, and he's a steamroller coming around that corner. That's the third sack today for Virginia.
Well, with the injury to Poindexter, someone else has to step up. Wally Rayner Patrick Kearney are the new captains, co-captains in place of Poindexter. And Kearney, who only had one tackle a week ago against Wake Forest, has been huge in this football game.
Already 2 sacks for Kearney today. That gives him 10 for the year.
He's leading the ACC in sacks.
3rd down and a dozen. And now, if Outson throws, it'll be near his own end zone. High snap. Here they come. He got the pass away.
And then we got another quarterback down after this one.
Travis Minor got back to the original line of scrimmage, and Outson is in the end zone trying to get up right now.
Kearney just laid one on him. I mean, Kearney is a lacrosse player out of high school, has given up the sport, but he's in a penalty box with a hit like that.
This
Left
is high
side
sticking
of your
coming
screen.
up.
This is high sticking without a stick, right in the rib cage. Oh, man, he just drove him into the ground.
Now a dangerous punt from the end zone, and not a good kick. And Wilkins waits on it, let it bounce, and it might cost him about 25 yards.
That's one of the real problems with only putting one returner back there in that situation. A 35-yard punt turns into a 57-yard punt.
10:24 left in the quarter.
You guys are in here again? I can't believe this. You're always in here nursing your injuries. I have never seen such a group of cream puffs in my life. This is football. I need guys that can play.
Man, I thought he'd never leave.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Hot dog, anyone? Do it. Do it. Whatever it is. Do it. Do it. Satisfied. People know just what they like to do. Whatever it is, you got it. As long as it pleases you. Go on and do it. Do it. Satisfied. Whatever it is. Do it.
When you have it your way, it just tastes better.
We get lots of letters from people, a lot of phone calls. People like knowing who's running a fund, and they really feel that's the shepherd of their money.
Other people have given us more than their life savings. They've given us their dreams. They've given us their aspirations.
When you win for Fidelity's thousands and thousands of shareholders. That's the truly rewarding part.
You're managing a lot of people's money. To them, it's their key asset. And boy, it means a lot to us.
Visit our website or call your advisor.
ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Jeep, makers of the Jeep Grand Cherokee, Cherokee, and Wrangler. Chili's, a proud sponsor of ABC College Football. Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. And 10-10-220, dial it, and your long-distance calls could cost under $1. Here comes Aaron Brooks in the Virginia offense with good field position from its own 33-yard line, trailing by a touchdown. Both teams have missed the next field goal. And the starting quarterback for Florida State so far sidelined by injury. Hawkins in motion. Brooks, a lot of time, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Jackson again. He's got 2 today.
Sometimes you have bad luck when you're a quarterback. That time Aaron Brooks had some bad luck. He was trying to go to the tight end on the crossing route, but Jackson jumped Billy Baber that time. When he saw Aaron Brooks look for the trailing receiver, Jackson was smart enough, and I think that's where that high school quarterbacking comes in, to come off one receiver and back up in the other. Wide receiver, Maude Hawkins right there going across. Jackson will be on the left side of your screen, kind of picks up going across the thing, looks at the tight end, and then just beats the wide receiver to the spot.
So Florida State takes over at the 47. And Outson at quarterback after being shaken up on his last pass attempt. They'll go to Travis Minor. Travis had a good first half, cuts outside, got what he could, which was about 6, and he's knocked out of bounds over there by Antoine Harris. And a penalty marker.
Yeah, that's going to be on Virginia, too.
Either a late hit or a little too much yakking from Harris, I think.
I think it was Rayner that time. Gave a little shove.
Dexter Jackson, 2 interceptions today. 4 for the season. Here's the end of the play.
See what happens. You can see a block by Coles that time comes into the play. And I think it's Rayner. Gets up. Little talking right there. Oh, come on. Please, I hope that's not it. I'll give the officials a break and just say I hope that's not it. You know, I mean, part of the game is a little bit of an intimidation from both sides. You know, Travis Miner's getting up and doing some talking, and everybody's getting up. And actually, it was Adrian Burnham. I don't know exactly what happened in that situation. I think Burnham just knocking his ball out of the hand was what they called it.
Boy.
That's weak.
That's a little weak.
That's a little weak.
At the 24, it's a first down anyway. Travis Miner, 100 yards on the day, and gets another carry here. Weaves his way inside for a couple. And we're at the 10-minute mark, third quarter. 21-14, but Florida State, courtesy of Dexter Jackson's second interception, down close to scoring territory again.
I think if you're Rick Lance right now, the signal caller for Virginia's defense, you must put pressure on the new quarterback. I know you don't feel good at the corner spot to match up with those receivers, but right now, Outzen is still comfortable. You need to get in his face early in this second half.
Second down and a long 8. Outzen has a look as he brings them up at the 23-yard line of Virginia. Play fake. He's in trouble from that side. And now down he goes.
Kearney again made the play.
Man, Kearney's all over the place.
Yeah. See, that's a tough block for Florida State that time. Kearney's going to be coming like a bat from the outside. And you've got a pulling guard trying to get him on that play, and it's just a very difficult play. Watch Kearney come around, and the backside guard has to pick him up. I think it's Carmichael has to pick him up when Kearney has a full run at the quarterback. It's very difficult. It's either Jason Whitaker or Kearney, and Kearney just coming. It is Jason Whitaker coming from the outside, just almost an impossible block.
And remember, Whitaker went out hobbling a little while ago, too, so he's maybe not on perfect wheels. Outzen throws on the run, and he throws a strike down to the 11-yard line to Warwick. Well, that'll get his confidence level built back up, and it's a first down, Florida State.
Well, Outzen is one of those speedy running quarterbacks.
He was a better runner in high school than a thrower, probably, but you could see he knows how to throw on the run.
And that time I thought it was good play calling by Florida State to get him out of the pocket, get away from the trash so he could see his receiver and throw confidently.
Down just outside the 10-yard line. I don't think it's quite first and goal. Miner, the tailback. He gets the toss, fakes the end around, and he'll keep it. Travis to the corner. Not quite. Ran out of real estate. And he's out of bounds at about the 3-yard line.
You know, that reverse fake moved Sproul just enough for Miner to get the corner. It couldn't have been more than 2 feet on the play. But when they fake the reverse and don't hand it off to the backside of that play, Sproul takes 1 step to his left, and then there's the corner. Number 21 right there comes in to make the tackle, but just can't get there.
Second down, just outside the 3. The toss again, bobbled by Miner. Now he heads to the end zone, and he's about a yard short. Myron Thweet, Rayner, and Olegby are all over there.
The 2 interceptions by Aaron Brooks has cost this Virginia team. You know, neither one of them were huge mental mistakes, kind of a happenstance type plays, but Florida State looks like they're going to make them pay again.
Florida State will bring in the tight end Franklin.
Remember now, Outzen's a good runner. You wonder if they'll let him roll out and just try to keep it.
Third down and goal just outside the 1. Miner, the lone setback with 2 tight ends. Travis to the end zone, touchdown.
Travis Miner for the Florida State touchdown.
Travis Miner got him there, and he got him in the end zone from a yard away.
Give Florida State a short field, and 1 big play gets you in the scoring zone, and they just pop it in there. Outzen made the big throw, and that's all this potent offense needed. Travis Miner has really grown up. He looks like the real deal, doesn't he?
Yep. He's had quite a game. Bad snap was handled by Outson, who was the quarterback on the drive, and Janikowski knocks the extra point through. 7 minutes and 42 seconds remaining now in the third quarter. And the Seminoles have stretched it out to 2 touchdowns again.
I'm sure Outson will get a good hug from his teammates when he gets to the sideline. There's the hug right there. He's going to get it from everybody because everyone realizes if you're a backup, you got to make plays. Here's the touchdown. Just a straight handoff. Block the guy that's in front of you. Jerry Carmichael, number 71, had nice push up front, and the beefed-up offensive line for Florida State looks like that's paid off.
You might see this Florida State team again against Wake Forest on ABC next week as our lineup looks like this in regional action in the ACC.
You know, Wake Forest gave NC State a big game.
North Carolina against Virginia, right, or Wake and Florida State. UCLA, Washington in the Pac-10, Big 12, Nebraska, Kansas State, Ohio State, and Iowa is where Gary and I will be. Don't forget, check your local listings for the game in your area. Call your cable or satellite company for games available on pay-per-view. There's the second winningest active coach in college football, Bobby Bowden, who's seen his team now, courtesy of Travis Minor, go back in front by 2 scores.
Well, you know, we talked to Bobby yesterday about his schedule here at Florida State. I mean, their non-conference games this year, Texas A&M, USC, Florida, and Miami.
Real breathers.
She's just like playing in the NFL. I mean, this Bobby Bowden, since he's been here, 31-10-1 against top 20 teams. That's an amazing statistic.
A returnable kick this time from the 1 by Hawkins. And Hawkins only got across the 15 before he got tagged at about the 17-yard line by Chris Hope down on the special teams. Florida State trying to go to 9-1. They've outscored opponents in the third quarter 94-13 this year. And in the second half, they just own people in the second half.
Well, that's where the too deep that we showed, the too deep on defense really pays off.
Plus, keep those fresh bodies in there.
Plus, when you get behind, you have a tendency to gamble, try to make it up. Virginia needs to take their time. There's plenty of time left in this game. They need a drive, not a quick touchdown.
No time to panic, and with that in mind, they'll go with a fullback straight up the middle, a pickup of about 3, and forward progress knocks Anthony Southern back, but he got it out to the 20, maybe even a little farther than that before Jerry Johnson wrapped him up.
You know what is another huge play in that last drive was that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against Virginia and Burnham right there. That was 15 yards that Virginia could not afford to give away. And rather than giving them away there, it was almost taken away. That was kind of a real weak call, I thought.
2nd and 7 with 7 to go, third quarter. Both wide receivers to the left. Thomas Jones has been quiet today since that one big run. Here comes an end around for Wilkins, and Corey Simon's all over it. That's how fast the defensive lineman can be at Florida State.
Well, it's the first time that Sparky Woods has tried a bit of trickery in this game, and it didn't work. A reverse play to the flanker coming in motion to Terrence Wilkins right here, but boom, this wide end right there comes from the outside, and there's no one to stop them. They're so fast, so much reacting, so quick, that it was either inside they were going to make the play by Corey Simon or outside by Tony Bryant or Roland Seymour.
And that's brought the chant from the Seminole fans for one of the few times today.
Yeah, you're right. This is the first time I've heard it.
3rd down and 13. You might hear it a lot more if they can get to Brooks, who's working out of the shotgun. Steps up in the pocket, runs by the umpire, and he's knocked down at the 20-yard line, the original line of scrimmage by Brian Allen. And it's punting time, Virginia. And the Sharks are starting to circle in the waters a little bit at Doak Campbell. Donnie Scott to punt, and unless he really lays one out there, Durden's going to have a chance at it. Florida State, a great kick blocking team too, but they have the return on. Scott hit it a mile in the air again, and Durden's going to have to call for a fair catch. Nice kick, but good field position either way. For Florida State, they'll work from the 38-yard line. And they'll do that when we come back. 5:12 to go in the third quarter. The Seminoles lead by 2 touchdowns.
2
Introducing the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee. While it boasts a new vibration-reducing body structure, a quieter, more powerful engine, and an agile suspension for a superior level of refinement and quietness, rest assured, it's still as rugged as ever.
Welcome back, sir.
The all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most capable sport utility ever.
Afraid your next get-together will be a flop? Order Chili's Party Platters. Act now. Call a Chili's representative, and your guests will flip over party-sized servings of buffalo wings, fajitas, baby back ribs, and more. And pre-party stress now. Order Chili's Party Platters, new from Chili's.
Need brakes? Come to Midas for a break on brakes. Now just $69.95 after rebate. You'll get our standard brake service and our lifetime guarantee. Midas' $69.95 brakes. It's worth stopping for.
Oh, folks, I've got some news for you. Not that headline stuff, but real news. You can make all your long-distance calls from home up to 20 minutes for only 99 cents. Less than $1. Cheaper than a sack of nuts. And it's just 10 cents for each minute over 20. How? Just dial 1010-220. Even Ed can do it. Just dial 1010-220, then 1 and the number. No fees, no contracts. It's about communicating. Up to 20 minutes of it for only 99 cents. Dial 1010-220.
Sundays, you get your money from an ATM. Thieves can get your money from them, too. Find out how to protect yourself on 2020 Sunday.
Marcus Outzen, the sophomore, back up to Chris Winkie in there because Winkie went out with not only a burn on his shoulder, but a mild concussion, and he is still in the locker room. And the word we just got from Florida State is that he probably will not come back out on the field today. So the field general for the Seminoles apparently done for the afternoon. And that gives it in the hands of his backup, who helped engineer that scoring drive the last time with a nice strike to Pete Warwick, and Travis Minor finished it off.
George Welsh and his Virginia Cavaliers have to realize that this game is not so bad. 28-14. Go into the fourth quarter, get a stop here. One more touchdown by Virginia really turns up that pressure on Marcus Outzen. They just can't afford to give up much more.
Jermaine Stringer comes in as an extra wide receiver. You see 4 of them there for Outzen on a 2nd down and 9 from the shotgun. Outzen steps up in the pocket. Now he'll keep it. Got out near the 45. Took a pretty big shot there. The fans want a flag, but don't get it.
How ironic. Of course, Florida State put out so many quarterbacks a year ago in 1997 when they had those two Andre Wadsworth defensive ends out there. I mean, they had some players out there, Greg Spires, and you can see that Florida State has changed up their strategy in calling plays by shuttling in a receiver and take some of the pressure off the young quarterback, who probably hasn't had as much practice getting them. He's been giving them the signals most of the time.
That's right. 3rd down and 3. Outzen gets happy feet, and down he goes, and you know who.
Gee, he's had a great game, hasn't he?
Patrick Kearney again.
Well, if there's a weakness on this football team, an attack point on this football team for Florida State, it might be those off-injured tackles. And that plays right into the strength of what Virginia has in Patrick Kearney. Today they don't have Travis Griffith, but you can see a little stunt to the outside. Tackle comes out, I think it was Anderson, and Kearney goes inside, and they make a nice sack.
Cottrell's punt, a good one. And a fair catch taken at the 23-yard line by Terrence Wilkins. So Virginia gets it right back. That's the best they could have hoped for. Their defense does its job and gives it back in the hands of the offense, trailing by 2 touchdowns.
Absolutely. Now I think that Virginia running game has to tone it up. I mean, they got to step up and make some first downs.
The show the New York Times calls the best new show of the season by far is Sports Night. And you can see a brand new episode coming up Tuesday night, 9:30, 8:30 Central, right after Spin City on ABC. It is nighttime in Tallahassee now. 2-touchdown lead for the Noles. And Womack going backward. Lamont Green made first contact, and he's had a whale of a game in his return from injury.
And outside of that one big drive that Virginia had when I thought Brooks played so well, and then that popped run by Thomas Jones early in the, I think it was the first quarter, this defense now has not been giving up much. It's been grudgingly giving up yards.
Well, there's what they've given up in the second half, all of 22 yards. And they've also picked off a pass. Dexter Jackson has 2 today. 2nd and 10.
This is the touchdown throw.
Inside handoff. They tried the trap, and all they got was trapped by Larry Smith. Southern, the ball carrier, dropped immediately.
One of the things that Mickey Andrews wanted to point out about his football team was that if you're going to play here, you not only have to be athletic, but you have to have great vision. And that's what Larry Smith did. He ran that play. Remember, the first goal is get the quarterback, but on the way to the quarterback, you've got to read what's happening up front in the blocking schemes. He reads the trap, close it, and make the play. That is tremendous football from the defensive tackle, Larry Smith.
3rd down and 10. This is a down where Florida State will get in the track stance. Here they come. Brooks in trouble, and down he goes. Threw it away at the very last moment. Swarmed under in the Cavalier backfield.
See, I think that silent snap count really hurts Virginia. I've seen him play 3 times now, and the rhythm of the snap count when they do not get under center is being read by the defensive lineman. Roland Seymour that time beat the clock, basically. As you said before, Brad, it was like drag racing. He had the green, the yellow, and then he just popped it on another green right there. I guess it's red, yellow, green.
Red, yellow, yellow, green, I think is how it goes.
And he took off before the green, and he was in the backfield.
Virginia, no first downs in their last 3 possessions, and they have the punt blocked. Up in the air, and bounces out near the 40-yard line. But they got to it. I think it was Brian Allen. Things are starting to unravel for Virginia.
Well, remember, a punt block does not show up as a turnover, but it means just as much to a team. It was Brian Allen. Good eyes from somebody around here. Clint Dean saw that one because they're moving fast. They're like a covey of quail going up at that. Boy, do they move.
And now they've got it at the 41-yard line again. Outson, the quarterback, and Minor, the tailback, gets the toss. End around coming. Nope, he'll keep it this time. Cuts back. Got about 2. Rayner made the tackle.
Brad, we talk silent snap count. When it gets loud, you'll see Aaron Brooks. He doesn't say anything here, and the ball comes. What he does, and there's Roland Seymour coming off. He's basically beating the linemen, offensive linemen, out of their stances. And what happens is the quarterback lifts his foot up when he sees his formation aligned and ready to go. The center looks at the foot, looks up, and snaps the ball. They are not changing it up. It's the same rhythm every time.
The thing the defensive lineman's got going for him there, he can react to the ball. The linemen pretty much have to be looking at who they're going to hit.
That's exactly right. He can see the ball easier than the offensive lineman.
2nd and 8. They fake the toss, and Outson's going to go deep for Coles. And that one is intercepted by Virginia. Picked off by Antoine Harris in the end zone. So the Cavaliers get it right back.
That's one of those plays as an offensive coordinator that you think is pretty safe. You've got a young quarterback. Let him throw deep to your fastest player, Coles. But what happened is, nice cushion out here, and Virginia, Antoine Harris this time says, I'm going to get back. I'm not going to squat. Brad Nessler said if I squat, I get squashed. This time I back up, I get the throw, and I make a nice catch.
And he squelches a drive. First turnover.
Squash and squelch.
First turnover in 12 quarters suffered by Florida State. And Outzen throws the interception, giving it back to Virginia at the 20. Thomas Jones, he just can't get on track now. And Dexter Jackson having quite a game. Another guy with good vision. Mickey Andrews, in telling us about that vision thing with his defensive players, said he used to actually get mad at Deion Sanders because he'd react to something on the opposite side of the field. And he'd say, why'd you do that, Deion? Said, because I saw it going on way over there.
Unbelievable. You know, it all starts up front, though, Brad. The penetration up front, they reestablish a new line. They kind of back up this Virginia line, and they just attack, and everything's happening behind the line of scrimmage. That allows those safeties to come up and hit it in the mouth.
Play action now for Brooks. Down the middle is tight end Crawford, his 3rd catch and a first down, but a flag down as well in the secondary.
Yeah, but it's going to be against Florida State. Reggie Durden that time had an illegal jam, I think, to the face of Terrence Wilkins.
Almost all the penalties on Florida State today have come either on their defense or their special teams, and we showed you they were the most penalized team in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Man, they're somewhat like the Oakland Raiders of the NFL. They, you know, that it's an intimidating type of style, it's an aggressive type of style, but they also have to be smart enough to do it and not get caught.
Sometimes to tell those Florida State defenders to pull up is like telling a squirrel to look both ways before he crosses the road. It's not going to happen, you know.
Decline. The result of the play is a first down.
And so first down. Bobby Bowden upset with the linesman.
Casey Crawford has had a real good game in this football game. He's reading the coverages, taking advantage of those linebackers being very aggressive on the play and finding the dead spot. 4 catches for 43 yards from Crawford.
First down, Virginia. At its own 32-yard line. They trail 28-14. Final seconds of the third quarter. Up the middle they go with Thomas Jones, and that'll probably bring the quarter to a close as Thomas got about 5 before Derek Gibson wrapped him up. And through 3 quarters, this battle for supremacy in the ACC. If Florida State can go 15 more minutes, they'd be in the driver's seat. ABC Sports presentation of college football returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
We come here on a glorious quest, a search for that which can be found nowhere else. Where, in the trenches where mighty men clash, amidst the echoes of glories past, high atop Olympus. Oh, this is our quest. This is what football is all about. Now all I gotta do is find that nacho guy.
Considering how well it handles the elements under the road, it's no surprise that our newest 4x4 performs so well on the road. Introducing the all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee, now with an exclusive quadricoil suspension and advanced steering system for a more agile, responsive ride on any surface. The all-new Jeep Grand Cherokee, the most capable sport utility ever.
Less crime is no accident. Mentoring, job training, counseling. These kinds of programs are keeping kids away from crime. Look around. Kids involved in these programs are staying out of trouble. It takes you and programs that work. Call 1-800-WE-PREVENT for a free booklet and help take a bite out of crime.
If you can dream it,
I want to be the most popular kid in school. Falling in love. It doesn't sound so terrible.
you can live it every Saturday night.
She's not human. She's a dolphin. This is Fantasy Island. You can have anything you want.
The all-new Fantasy Island, followed by Cupid. ABC tonight, starting at 9/8 Central.
I think big folks in Georgia should get presents during the holidays, too, and I can't think of any better present than $50 off your gas bill. I'm going to see Santa.
Just call 1-877-GO-SCANA. Switch your natural gas service to SCANA, and you'll get $50 worth of free gas, plus SCANA's guaranteed low price and great service.
I'm going to see Santa. I'm going to see Santa.
And tell me, young man, what would you like to have besides $50 in free SCANA gas?
Disciplined Doctors, Monday at 6 on Channel 2 Action News.
15 minutes left. From Doak Campbell Stadium, Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson with you, along with our ABC crew. Top spot in the ACC at stake. Of course, Georgia Tech is idle today, and they're no doubt watching this one. Here's Jones, who had 207 yards against Georgia Tech, part of that 600-yard explosion in the only loss the Cavaliers suffered this year.
Jones got a bit nicked against NC State, and had Antoine Womack had to finish that game, and he kind of limped off on that play.
And Florida State changes up defensive personnel again, as they've done all day. This is the quarter now where, as Gary said and Mickey Andrews told us, having those 22 guys out there that you can interchange really pays off.
Florida State in a 5-man defensive line to try to man up front.
Third down and 3. Might have been a loss on the play. All 5 men seemed to get to Womack before he ever got going. Tommy Polley, who's playing with a separated shoulder, just put the hit on, and that shoulder is kind of dangling, or his arm is, from the shoulder on the way to the sideline. He was in a sling for the early part of the week, and he just made the tackle.
Well, I think that's the competition you have here at Florida State. You don't want to give up your job. I mean, you let somebody else play, they may be a superstar too.
Donnie Scott's last punt was partially blocked. On 4th and 3, this one he hits a mile in the air. Dee Feaster for the first time back there today, and he'll field it at the 10. And down he goes, and the ball loose. Virginia's got it, but they were going to stop that play anyway. Blown dead at the 18-yard line, and let's go to New York and John Saunders.
That is the Burger King play of the day. Oklahoma State against Texas. Major Applewhite, the young quarterback for Texas, throws it out, and then Ricky Williams goes to work. Bowls over a couple of guys, takes it to the end zone. Actually, Ricky Williams, a lot of yardage on this pass reception, but he is struggling. About 30 yards on the day. Texas has the lead, though, 34-28. And Ohio State in a battle with Michigan State. The Spartans are driving.
Ohio State having trouble with Michigan State. Florida State trying to put Virginia away as Outson comes up throwing, complete to Dugans. Nice move and a stiff arm. Gets him some extra yardage out near the 45-yard line. Legby finally put the hit on him, but it's a pickup of 28. And that's just good one-on-one performance by Ron Dugans, the junior, out of right here in Tallahassee. After 3 quarters, here's how the stats look. 281 to 222.
I think 2 things stand out. The points off turnovers, that's a big arrow there, and that's highlighted. But only 281 yards by the Florida State offense. I told you this, Virginia defense is a good, solid defense. Florida State's going to have to earn every point.
Here's Travis Minor, who's been earning it today, and he backs up to the 48, maybe the 49-yard line. Darrell Sanders will make the tackle. Travis Minor, 118 yards. He's carried it 24 times. Travis, who played at the same high school as Warrick Dunn, wore his jersey number, and doing a pretty good imitation of him today.
Yeah, he sure is. He's not as elusive, but he seems to be a good reader of blocks and gets around the corner very nicely.
Pretty powerful for that 190 pounds he carries. He's carried it out to the 49, where it is 2nd and 6. Lamar Glenn, his lead man, will get the call here. And Glenn, who had a touchdown earlier in the game, got about 3. Antonio Dingle made the hit.
Interesting call that Mark Richt started out this series for Florida State. Remember, the last play of the previous series, Outson threw an interception. So you open up with the next series, same angle, same corner, or you run a comeback to the outside. If you're going to lay off and play the deep ball, we're going to force you and let you know we're willing to throw the ball in front of you.
See if they're willing to throw here on 3rd and 3. At the Virginia 48-yard line. From the shotgun, they will throw now because Outson's the only guy there. No, he's going to run a quarterback draw, and he's got a first down and then some. Dangerous in that you're down basically to number 14 as quarterback if you don't want to blow a red shirt, but he's a great runner, and they surprised me and they surprised Virginia.
Well, Outson is one of those guys that came to Florida State as not only a good quarterback, but a potential to play somewhere else. He's an athletic player. You can see he can play quarterback pretty well. And now the added ability to run the ball. I think Mark Richt at halftime probably put in a couple more plays for the quarterback.
As soon as they empty that backfield, you got to think Virginia was thinking, well, here comes a pass. Here's the toss to Minor. His tight end got a nice block, and he cut up inside it to the 28-yard line. Tim Spruill made the tackle, but Myron Jackson out there, the senior tight end, threw a nice block to help free him for yardage. Picked up 8 more. Travis keeps going like this in the 4th quarter. He might better that previous best that he also had, as Gary talked about earlier, against the Cavaliers. His career high is 157.
You know, what's amazing about this Florida State team when you watch them, they only have 10 seniors on the team, 6 fifth-year seniors and 4 true seniors.
I think they're going to be scary good next year. Minor straight up the middle, now trying to bounce it outside. The forward progress for him, I think, is going to be about a yard short of the first down, but it will be about the 27-yard line where they put it down.
Of course, around here and in modern-day college football, at most of these major schools now, senior doesn't mean much. You have to look at juniors and seniors. You have the potential to lose all of your great players who are juniors, And obviously your senior players are going to leave, but that's why you have to constantly keep recruiting good players. Even if you've got a great freshman player or a great sophomore player, you have to keep recruiting because you never know when these guys are going to leave town.
Bobby Bowden says the state of Florida right away, there's about 150 blue chippers that signed in the first couple days, but he signed more people from out of state than in-state this year.
First time.
Here's the toss, trying to run wide to get the first. I think he got there by about a foot.
See, Adrian Burnham that time, number 37, thought he had leverage on Minor. Standing there, said, I got him. There's no way he can get outside of him, out of me, but Minor just is deceptively fast. He's not going to juke a lot. He just keeps going around the corner to make the first down.
He had that big game in the opener against Texas A&M
Watch
for
to the outside. Here he is, right here. I got him outside. And then he just can't quite make the play. Good block up front by McCrary.
Had 146 yards against the Aggies in the first game of the season, and he's heading that direction again. Play fake. Outson wants to throw an Outson. And Dugans, did he make the catch?
I think he did.
Yes, he did. Ron Dugans, boy, that's some fancy footwork. Only got 8 yards, but it got 80,000 cheering for him.
And again, remember, Antoine Harris had the the pickoff, the interception on the deep ball. So, you know, I constantly say this. People think the game is so complicated. It's not chess, it's checkers. You want to move back? I'm going to go in front of it. You want to try to king somebody? I'm going to jump you. It's not that difficult.
Chaney checks in at tailback now. And 2nd down and 2 to give Travis Minor a breather. Straight ahead, the fullback and a first down. Inside the 15, down near the 14-yard line.
Virginia now will be forced to move their linebackers up and gamble. It's 28-14. They cannot, with 9 minutes, or 9.5 minutes to go in this football game, they can't let any more points on the board come. George Welsh will go over to Rick Lance and say, go after him. Put our corners man-to-man. Let's take a chance. Hopefully the new quarterback will throw the ball high or something.
Better to take a chance and lose than have never taken the chance.
Right. Yeah,
their chances are running out.
I think you'll see those linebackers move up and start to attack.
10th play of the Florida State drive. And again, it's the fullback, only it's a different one this time. William McCray. And he got 5. And now they're inside the Virginia 10 as we check in with John Saunders in New York. John?
Brad, sometimes the sign of a great team is seeing how they respond under adverse conditions. Well, Ohio State's going to find out that Cedric Irvin from 3 yards out. Michigan State has grabbed the lead over the Buckeyes. Brad.
Uh-oh.
It always happens. You're always tested somewhere along the line every year, no matter how good you are.
Florida State now. With Travis Minor back in there on the toss. Waits for his blockers. Got taken off his feet. Nice hit out there at the 10-yard line. Tim Spruill, he's a little bit shaken up, but boy, that's a nice stop.
You know who else did a great job on that play? Was Kearney again.
Stretching things out.
He just stretched it out so long and waited for his other guys. This time it was a safety. Watch Kearney fight off this block and just buy time. He's got Jackson, the big tight end, and he fights him, and he fights him, and he fights him. Now he's got the fullback on him. Dives out and allows the safety to come out and make the play. That's good team defense and playing position defense.
So a 3rd down here for Florida State, 3rd and 4. They'll go from the shotgun. The last time they ran this formation, they ran the quarterback draw. They empty the backfield again. Here it comes again. Outson. Didn't get there, I don't think. Got to the 5. Staminich is the guy that made the stop. Do you go for it here on 4th and 1, or do you not get fancy, take the field goal, and have a 17-point lead?
Well, I'd kick the field goal, but you got to feel different about your team, I guess, if you're Bobby Bowden.
Here comes the field goal unit. It's pretty good when you can boo with a 14-point lead.
Right. Well, you've got to play it safe. I mean, you have to win this football game if you have any chance at the national title. The ACC championship's on the line. I like my chances if I'm Florida State with a 17-point lead and 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter.
Outson is the holder. Janikowski from 22 knocks it right down Monroe Street. with 6:59 remaining in the ball game. 31-14, Noles in front.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Fortunately, there's Nasonex nasal spray, an effective nasal allergy prescription medicine taken once a day that relieves sneezing, itchy runny nose, and congestion, indoors and out. Now that's wonderful. Nasonex, what good days are like every day. The most common side effects were headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing.
Meet Chris Worth, animator. Knows good, knows evil. Knows that having a formidable partner is definitely good. Chevy S10, like a rock.
In a perfect world, golf balls would taste more like gumballs. In the real world, Diet Dr. Pepper does taste more like regular Dr. Pepper. It's the taste you've been looking for.
Sunday, it's a premier movie event when Whoopi Goldberg goes back in time.
It's a fake, look.
Whoopi Goldberg, A Night in Camelot, ABC Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
31-14 now with the field goal with just under 7 minutes to go, and they just made the announcement of the Michigan State-Ohio State score here, and there was an eruption at Doak Campbell Stadium.
Loudest cheer of the day right there for that one.
And after this kickoff, we'll take a look at the bowl championship standings and where the top teams would go. Obviously, Florida State thinks they can work their way back into it, and they very well may be able to.
Well, it would take 3 losses. You know, the number 1 would have to lose 2 and 3, but then the winner of the Florida State game, should Florida State hold on to this, would get in there. There's no way to deny that they wouldn't.
Janikowski to kick. Hawkins will down it. Virginia works from the 20. Again, the bowl series formula, and each of those were 25% of putting it all together. The USA Today and AP polls, the computer rankings, the New York Times, Seattle Times, Jeff Sagarin rating all in there. Strength of schedule and then the losses. And how it looked coming into the day, and Ohio State very much in danger. Tennessee, UCLA dropped down to 3rd after last week's close one with Stanford, Kansas State, Florida. There's Florida State, number 6. But as Gary said, when you got the Gators still coming up on your schedule, and you never know what might shake down on top of that.
Well, the interesting scenario to me would be is if there's only one undefeated team, who gets to play them? I think it's going to be the winner of the Florida State game.
Brooks to throw. That one sailed on him, and it's intercepted by Durden. Third interception of Brooks today, and Durden played that one beautifully.
It's the same play to the other side of the field that Aaron Brooks threw to Wilkins on the 4th down play. Wilkins is going to come in, go upfield at the snap, and then break out. Durden read it, saw the ball, and jumped on it. Great play. Did not believe Wilkins was going to go deep. Hung in there and just baited the throw. And you know, Brad, you said it hung. It wasn't a lob. Probably stayed in the air a bit too long, but Durden was waiting for it, just waiting for that play.
And returns it to the 28-yard line and returns it to the Florida State offense.
And I think you'll see Florida State keep it on the ground now.
There it is, and it's Chaney. And he bounces his way for about 5 yards. We're talking about the Bowl Championship Series, and of course, it's number 1 against number 2 in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. And that's where the national championship will be decided right here on ABC. The Nokia Sugar Bowl, Rose Bowl presented by AT&T, and the FedEx Orange Bowl, all involved in those top teams.
Yeah.
And all of those games you'll see between the 1st of January and the 4th of January on ABC Sports.
Kansas State won big again. How about this stat, Brad? 40% of the plays against Kansas State this year has gone for 0 yards or less.
Wow.
40% of the plays.
Cheney's got a first down to the 12-yard line. Fresh body in there. Whether Travis Minor's done for the day or not, Jeff Cheney says, give me my chance and I'll help the cause. 1st and 10 with under 6 minutes left, and time is running out on Virginia.
I think we saw Virginia kind of lose a bit of their quickness against Georgia Tech in that 4th quarter. And I think you're starting to notice it in this game, especially offensively. That offensive line has not been able to push around Florida State in this second half.
1st and 10 at the 12. Weaving around is Jeff Cheney again. And a little shoving going on after the play. And officials, I think, wisely make a no call. Some frustration out there on Virginia's part, I'm sure, and that they were right in the hunt in this game. And now, as Gary said, in the final stages, some of the freshness has been taken out of them. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game for each team. In recognition of those athletes, Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund.
No, that's why they have assistant coaches of the year. That's why I think Mike Stoops at Kansas State should be the defensive assistant coach. And I like David Cutcliffe from Tennessee doing a great job with Tennessee's T. Martin as the offensive coach of the year.
Cheney, touchdown! Again, the depth of Florida State.
Yeah, not only was the ball carrier a backup, but Donald Haven, number 78, watch him come around and make this block. He's the backup to Jerry Carmichael. He comes around and makes the block also on that play, and that is good team depth.
Extra point is good. And now Florida State running away with it with 4 minutes, 46 seconds remaining in the ballgame.
May I help you?
If I wanted a Whopper, no pickles, that wouldn't be a problem. But would we get to hear you sing?
No, sir. You get to hear us sing. Hold the pickle, hold the lettuce, special order donuts. May I help you?
If I want my value meal with greens instead of fries, is that a problem?
Value meal with greens or fries, it still costs the same great price. You don't have to ask us twice to have it your way.
When you have it your way, it just tastes better. Insuring over 40 million people worldwide.
Chevy Tahoe, like a rock.
38-14, Florida State. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Chevy S10, like a rock. Nasonex, Dr. Pepper, and your local Dr. Pepper bottler. Dr. Pepper, this is the taste. And Solomon Smith Barney, let's get to work. Success is earned. It looks like Florida State may earn at least a share of an ACC title with what they're doing today. Virginia has made them earn it, but the turnovers have turned into points for Florida State to the tune of 21, and now they lead 38-14. Womack and James Johnson waiting on Janikowski's kick. He's had 3 touchback kicks already today, make it 4.
I think you'd be mistaken to hang this whole game on Aaron Brooks either, and just the 3 interceptions. I don't believe Virginia's wide receivers scare at all the Florida State defensive backs. They're crowding the ball. had a tip pass for an interception, and I thought they played it very well. I just don't believe you can hang this one on a quarterback all day. Brooks has played fairly well as we see Dan Ellis coming on the field. Of course, he played a year ago, had a pretty good game when Brooks was knocked out of this game.
First down from the 20. And jumping into the neutral zone.
See, that's the way you play Florida State. You just bring a new quarterback in every series and give those 5-yard cadence penalties.
As Aaron Brooks, 3 interceptions today. Virginia came into this one with just that Georgia Tech loss as the only blemish on their record. And in the 90s, remember they started off in 1990 7-0, then they lost 4 of their last 5, and they fell from number 1 in the country to number 23. Right. They started off 5-0 in 92 and 93. They started off 4-0 in 96. And all of those years, they finished unranked with at least 4 losses. So the story for George Welch's team has always been, it seems, start strong, at least in this decade. Start strong and then have some trouble in November.
Yeah, well, you play your tougher teams in November,
Absolutely. Goes hand in hand.
Yep. You know, if you're going to beat Florida State, I think you have to look back historically and see what works against Florida State. Yeah, every once in a while they're going to give you a game like they gave North Carolina State. But North Carolina State did it with an outstanding big player, big-time player. Torrey Holt defeated that bump and run. You can see what happened. Tiki Barber had that big run against them a few years ago when they made the big plays. And you know what? Florida has those types of receivers that can make big plays. You have to be able to defeat their bump and run to beat them.
They're intercepted. This time by Jennings.
Yeah, but I tell you, Lamont Green, I think number 55 was the guy that came in. Was it Brian Allen that came in on the sack? I'm not sure if it was 45 or 55 that hit him just as he let the ball go. Let's take a peek at this one. Ellis comes back, and he gets hit just as he lets the ball go. It was Corey Simon, number 53. And, boy, that just threw it off target and right to the interception to Bradley Jennings.
You saw Bobby Bowden a moment ago already talking to some well-wishers, congratulating him on a victory.
Either that, it was the team doctors about Chris Winkett.
Actually, I noticed one of those guys is from the Birmingham Monday Morning Quarterback Club that I spoke at a couple weeks ago. They probably got Bobby going over there on Monday to talk.
Well, he could still be he could still fall in that doctor category, couldn't he?
That's right. Timeout at the 20. Florida State with a big lead with just under 4 minutes to go.
The truck, and it's here. Introducing the new Silverado. It's bigger. It's more powerful. It's the truck from Chevrolet.
MetLife Financial Professionals believe the best way to discuss your financial future, including mutual funds, annuities, and insurance, is face-to-face. That's why we make house calls. Get Met. It pays.
Chili's Ranch Hand Filet. Slow grilled over an open flame for a real outdoor flavor and placed on awesome blossom strings. Only at Chili's.
Imagine having to be perfect.
Nicole Bobek competes Sunday at 4 Eastern on ABC.
Michigan State is trying to nail down the upset of the season right here. Joe Germain scrambles. He gets hit by Julian Peterson. Josh Shaw fumbles, or rather grabs the fumble. It sets it up. Michigan State winds up with a field goal and now a 4-point lead with under 10 minutes to go. Brad.
Getting dicey at the big horseshoe here. It's comfortable enough that Rich Marr, a walk-on quarterback, is going to take over at the controls for the Seminoles.
That would lead me to believe that the injury to Chris Winkie is not serious because they're going to try to continue to save that redshirt year for Jared Jones.
Raymont Skaggs on the carry. Darrell Sanders made the tackle. Florida State, with this victory, will go to 9-1 and 6-1 in conference play, and again that puts them in the position to win a 7th Atlantic Coast Conference title because they have beaten Georgia Tech, and Georgia Tech idle this weekend will be back at it against Clemson on Thursday night. But Florida State controlling their own destiny now in the conference race. Open field for Skaggs. Touchdown. Something more for the Garnet and Gold to cheer about. The 4th-string tailback takes it 18 yards for a touchdown.
I think there isn't a lot of competition on this football team. Raymont Skaggs right here pops it and explodes it to the outside. This guy is probably a scout teamer for this football team.
Or in this case, a Skag teamer. Janikowski's extra point is good.
He's the guy giving the picture of the other team.
Raymont Skaggs, another score. Florida State opening the lead up to 30.
Will you ever own a personal satellite? Will you ever say, fill her up with hydrogen? Are microfibers just a trend? One thing's for sure, opportunities abound. And every day we look at them through a microscope. Like a peek, let's get to work. Solomon Smith Barney.
Ramada and Holiday Inn may look similar. So at Ramada, we do our personal best to attack even the smallest problems. At Ramada, nothing bugs us like imperfection. For reservations, call 1-800-2-RAMADA.
Can people taste the difference between Lay's Wow potato chips and their favorite chips? Let's find out.
Wow.
You know they're fat-free, only half the calories.
These are fat-free?
Talk to me, Stout Boy.
Wow.
Okay, sum it up 10 words or less. Wow. Wow. Wow, these are good. You know, wow is mom upside down. Bet you can't taste the difference.
Bet I can. Take the Wow Challenge yourself. Just try to taste the difference.
What?
Wow.
The Bowl Championship Series is online with live action, interviews, game highlights, and live polls at ESPN.com and on America Online.
Don't forget Sunday Night Live, 8:15 Eastern on ESPN. Sunday Night Football. Tennessee Oilers take on Trent Dilfer and the Tampa Bay Bucks. And on Monday night on ABC Sports, first time the Steelers and Packers have ever played each other on Monday Night Football. Brett Favre and the Packers take on the Steelers. And that is an 8 o'clock Eastern kick. Join us on ABC Monday.
Florida State is always known for their power in the second half, and you always look at it as their points. But you know they don't do too bad defensively. Here's their second half. Virginia has had 18 plays just for 39 yards and 3 turnovers.
That won't win you many.
No.
Not unless you had a big lead going into halftime.
And that just turns that point margin in the second half for Florida State into 187-38.
Well, this second stanza has belonged to the Seminoles again today. Now 3:15 remaining. Dan Ellis was intercepted the last time he tried to throw. He's in there at quarterback. And now on the ground, out to the 25-yard line goes Antoine Womack. Oh, you've been asking Gary questions today online, and we got one final question, I guess, for you, G-Man.
Okay. I guess this one's going to be about Bobby because we got a 0. Do you think Tommy Bowden will join the ACC as the new Clemson coach? Hey.
It's a good question.
Well, he can't do much better than he's doing at Tulane this year, isn't he? Won again today. I think Tommy Bowden will be able to choose his spot. I think he should just be patient and go somewhere where he can win. Ask his brother.
Well, there's speculation that the Clemson and the South Carolina jobs may be up for grabs. Yep. after the season is over because of subpar campaigns, I guess. And of course, in the coaching carnival, Terry Bowden has also been involved, as everybody in college football knows.
I really do think Clemson is one of those spots with the right guy can go in there and turn that thing into a winner again.
Well, Danny Ford had a winner there for a while after Coach Howard was there for so many years. And the king of Southern football right now is Bobby Bowden, I guess, and his team on their way to their 9th victory.
You know, people always talk about programs that have been created by an individual. Joe Paterno at Penn State. I think Bill Snyder at Kansas State is doing that, but I think it'd be hard to match this program built by Bobby Bowden. He built it by playing the best on the road. This was not by any means a powerhouse of a football place, and now it is the cream of crop of college football. As Bobby told us yesterday, he can get players from anywhere now. Our name is as recognizable as Texas or Notre Dame or Michigan.
That's how they get a quarterback out of Walla Walla, Washington, when it's right in the backyard of Washington State and Mike Price. And you saw Jeff Bowden there on the sideline with Bobby, so you talk about family dinners. You know, those guys get together, draw X's and O's at Thanksgiving time.
They're the only family where you need more napkins than food because they draw so many plays. They're not messy. They just like to draw.
And can forget the turkey. Just get the napkins out there. 21 grandchildren now, Coach tells us he has. And we look at his family picture up on the wall yesterday, and he said, it's an old one. I got a couple more in there now. Going to have another win in the column after this one in the next minute or so.
Well, how about Virginia now? They have been stung by criticism in the past. As you mentioned, how they started out the first half and finished out. They need to put this one behind them and get ready down the road. They got a couple tough ones, including Virginia Tech.
That's right. 1:03 left. Our Chevrolet most valuable players of the game. Patrick Kearney, 3 sacks all over the field today. And then Dexter Jackson, who was really a tide turner with his 2 interceptions. And Chevrolet donation will be made to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. It's been a Chevrolet tradition for more than a quarter century. And Virginia here has conceded that this one is over, and that's kind of Coach George Welch's. No nonsense. He knows at 45-14, run the ball, head back to Charlottesville, and as Jerry said, regroup. And that's what they will do, I'm sure. For Florida State, 9-1, and they go to the top of the heap now in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
We keep hearing about how these reduced scholarships is narrowing the difference between these teams. I ain't seeing it, are you?
Not Tallahassee. Maybe the final play of the game right here. Up the middle, and that's what it's been, really. The exception of a couple of runs today for the Cavaliers' ground attack. As Florida State has ground them out here. 45-14 is the final. Seminoles may be on their way to their 7th ACC title. The coaches will cross the...
It would be a curse, but it helped us. It cooled the tires down. It got the car to turning again, so I almost made a run at him. I could gain a little and lose a little. It's just my impatience probably kept it from being any closer, but Mark had so much experience on me.
Big day for him. Big weekend coming up.
Indeed, and we will be there in Miami next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN, the Jiffy Lube Miami 300. Benny Parsons, take a look at the final results. 13 cars on the lead lap.
Matt Kenseth finished 4th, coming from a lap down.
In fact, 5 of those top 13 were at least a lap down early in the race. What an unusual event.
It really was unusual. And we saw some great racing. And again, we saw Dale Earnhardt Jr. mature and become even better at a race car driver today than he was yesterday.
Well, some shuffling in the point standings. Remember, they were very close back to 10th spot. It's Earnhardt Jr. and Kenseth by 166. Earnhardt Jr. will have to start next Sunday at Miami to be able to hang on and win the title. College football coming up next. Syracuse going to Morgantown, West Virginia. Ron Franklin, Mike Gottfried, Adrian Karsten. ESPN's college football coming up next. We'll be here tomorrow for our live coverage of the Winston Cup season finale. The 39th running of the Napa 500 with Kenny